fun.
Jiminy Christmas.
In my ass.
I just banged your wife?
Name of this garbage show again that I'm on.
Total Nonstop Impact.
My name's John, capital letter E, period, Bravo, and you're listening to the Total Nonstop Impact Podcast.
This is the jaw-jacking Tuesday Night Impactin'. His mother called him son because he shines like one. Mocha Skin Manimal, Rohit Raju, and you are watching Total Nonstop Impact.
This is Taya La Güera Loca, and you are listening to Total Nonstop Impact.
The Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, and you're listening to Total Nonstop Impact.
We are the Rascals, and you are listening to Total
Nonstop
Impact Podcast, baby.
Woo! And what you're really listening to is Total Nonstop Impact. Don't you dare miss a lesson. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. What's up, Impact Wrestling? Let's make some noise!
Sitting here, you guys got a 15-minute intro of putting yourselves over while I'm sitting here and watching J-Bone and Kaylon and your 50. I never saw a 15-minute intro of three guys putting themselves over.
This is the good stuff.
Welcome back, everybody, to Total Nonstop Impact Talk for Impact fans, featured right here on the TNI Network. This is Trellon, my co-host, Bill and J-Bone, and this is the Throwback Show, NWA TNA number 34 tonight. Gentlemen, what's going on today? You guys both answer.
Good day.
Both answer. I want just yell.
It's Throwback Thursday.
Yeah,
it's
Throwback Thursday. Well,
guys, it's not just Throwback Thursday. It's a special. Today is different. Today is absolutely different today.
I would call it golden.
It's golden. You know, I'm gonna change the colors of this to a golden.
Oh,
all right, there we go. Now we might have a special guest. Now we might have special. You guys, if you guys have seen the ads, we put out some tweets today. It is. Now we do that TNA show, NWA TNA Throwback, and we have with us somebody whose voice was all over those first couple of years. She was on TV. I personally like to call her the first knockout. I think in all reality, she is the first TNA knockout. Let's be real here. Let's bring her in, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Goldilocks in the house. Goldilocks.
Look at all. I do that too. I'm clapping for you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna continue putting you over. That was hysterical that Vince said that. I've never seen.
I figured you'd catch that by surprise. You know, we joined on with the brand too. I don't know if you knew that. We joined with the brand a little bit. We're doing a show with the brand now. Vince took us on.
Okay.
So we're doing we do a weekly show where we review the weekly Impact show on Tuesday nights.
I love it. I did not know that. I barely can keep track of what every day. It's like there's so much stuff with Vince. Like he's got a really, really, really good brand. I'm so happy that you guys are a part of it. And it's nice to see your stick, your gimmicks.
Yeah, thank you. He came onto this show. He talked to us for a little bit. He tore us apart, as you saw in the little clips. He gave us a bunch of shit, right? And then he's like, "Yeah, I like what you guys do." He's like, "You guys got the tickets here, bro, and you got the little banners there, bro, and all this and that." And he's like, "Let's talk turkey, bro." 18 bros later, we're submitting stuff to the brand. Go for it.
And you've got 34 shows that you've already done. That's a lot.
We're on TNA number 34 tonight.
It's a lot of stuff, isn't it? People don't realize like what goes into the planning and just coming up with everything and
that's just the Throwback show. We do the weekly show. We've already done 2 years of that. So we've been doing this for a bit. Yeah. So
what an honor.
So listen, we're honored to have you.
Yes.
Because we've been watching these TNA shows. I watched them. Here, I want to preface this. I watched them when they first aired. So I grew up watching you when they
so
first
did
I. But J-Bone here, it's his first time watching them through.
Oh, okay.
So we're watching from one to now. And then Bill, you watched them as well, right? Or did you go back and watch them?
I watched them as well. I didn't watch all of them live. You watched everyone live. That I did not do. I watched some of them live. Some of them I watched a little while later. But then I've caught up, obviously, like those first couple years in, I caught up. Probably by 2005, I was caught up in everything.
Oh, okay. And Trent, do you play guitar? Was that you playing?
That was me playing bass. I'm in a metal band called Hemi. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, I didn't know that. Cool.
So I got one thing in common with you. Not much. You're here, Goldie. I'm just climbing.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you have a dick.
No, well, maybe no. That's not good. I mean, you're tough and all, but hey, come on, wait a second. But you've done so many songs for Impact and TNA.
Yeah.
I got to do 2 of them myself with my band last year. So we did.
Get out. Are you serious?
That's one thing I got in common with you. I know you're mega star now.
That's badass. That's totally badass.
So I want to talk to you about the music later on as we get into this. So I want to definitely ask you about the music, but man, it's such an honor to have you. I know we've been trying to set this up for a little bit, for a couple of months. We've been talking off and on. So I'm glad you're here. But listen, let's just straight up just tell everybody like what you've been up to, like since the TNA, since the wrestling days. For those who don't know, what have you been up to? Like, what's
just so much television and other things, and there was something super exciting that was happening right before the COVID, as so many of my WWE, TNA, Impact, all these AWA people, there was all this great shit going down, and then I swear to God, and I'm trying to find the like silver lining in the fact that you were ready to, it's like the biggest limp dick ever with the COVID. I'm just over it. But you know what? One mistake that I've been making on podcasts, we can talk about it later, but I do want to say like right off the bat that we did a really cool project that's hosted on Vince's channel. And I usually talk about it at the very end of the podcast when everybody's freaking asleep. So really quick, I just want to like tell anybody that's listening right now that the main point of this is to cross promote your show by going over to our video, which has James Storm, Alan Funk, Chase Stevens, Chris Henderson from 3 Doors Down, Bobby Caps from 38 Special, Tupac Shakur's cousin, Revelation, Bobby King's daughter. Just please, will you guys go over to All To You on YouTube, All To You, leave some pleasant comment. Tell me I suck. I don't care. Cross-reference your show and just say, I'm here because of, and then put Total Nonstop Impact. You know what I'm saying? Like, we want to cross promote that. It's really important. It's for suicide prevention.
We're gonna put that link in the description of
later. Sure. Yeah. Oh, sure. I always wait till the last minute and people are like toast, and like that's like my main thing is I just want to make sure like that gets plugged, and that anybody that's listening just go over there, and like I did Hannibal's show a little while ago, and like I mean everybody just let me know how fat and ugly and disgusting I am, and what did somebody say? Somebody told me that my tits look like I inserted them myself, and that I should take a box cutter and cut off my face and my tits. Yeah. You know, hey, you know, have a great
fucking bullshit.
I thought they were tough at you backdooring the TNA pay-per-views.
No.
Jesus Christ.
That's why I don't listen to Hannibal. It's it's
unbelievable.
We are honored to have you on here. You're not going to get any of that here.
Oh my God. No, Hannibal did a really great interview, and like a lot of people, you know, watched it. And it's like, if you come over and you want to show your support by writing hate on a suicide prevention PSA, be my guest, because you're helping the algorithms. You know what I mean? Like, absolutely.
Take the numbers.
My poor boobies are so worried. Every time I see a box cutter now, I go into, I shudder. What the fuck?
A bunch of savages in this town, I swear.
And then what did somebody say? Oh, she looks a lot older than she did on TNA. Yeah, very good. That was 18 years ago.
Genius. It was 20 years ago almost, for God's sake.
So does your mom.
And you look beautiful. That's not even get it. Yes,
I've got the same hair.
And it's a great video. Great video. I watched it a few times. It's going to impact you.
There's the link right there, guys.
It's you guys are sweet. You guys are sweet. Yeah, we can talk about it later, but I just wanted to make sure I plug that. So back to your question, you know, what I've been up to? Just, oh my God, so much. And like I look back, and like now with the podcast Goldie's Closet on Vince's brand, basically it's like the saddest vagina version of Tosh.0, where I like bring back every single TNA star that I can and like apologize for how I was so arrogant and douchey, and I just could have done a way better job like getting to know those. I mean, I got to know them, but like I didn't know Like, I didn't know what these guys did in ECW, WCW. I didn't know what they did in the indie circuit and all those promotions. I didn't know. And then now I'm like, oh my God, like, you idiots. So it's been really cool. I did Bucket Full of Chicken Necks with Vince. Same kind of, hey, yo, I got a show I'm doing, you know, I need a chick to come on and be like my Robin or something, you know, and you could come on, you know, I need them to be hard, you know. And then, you know, that went for a while. And then, I don't know, some shit hit the fan. And he's like, you could do your own show. And I'm like, okay, like, so now, whatever. So now I'm doing my own show.
You know what it was? He couldn't handle you grilling him. I used to listen to those shows, and you would grill him for an hour, and there was a point where Vince will crack. Like, even the great Russo, the big mouth Russo, can't even handle it, and he'll crack because Goldie was like running circles around him.
No, we got into one time we got into a big blowout, like where I thought he kept saying, oh, girl, I got something that's going to make you mad. You're going to be, and I'm like, okay, like, it's live. And I'm like, okay, well then best not bring that one up. And he's like, oh, you're going to hate me for this. And I'm like, okay, then don't bring it up. Because I'm thinking, is he going to throw me under the bus or like talk about, you know, how he pushes and stuff. And I thought, oh shit, is he going to talk about an old boyfriend? Is he going to talk about like, what's he going to do? And I'm just like, and he said it like so many times. And I'm like, bro, I don't want you to bring up whatever it is that's going to get me hot or freak me out or push me over the edge. And he's like, well, I'm going to bring it up anyway. And I literally was like, well, then I'm leaving. And I like closed my laptop. And then I was like, I just lost a friend. Like, what do I do? Like, what? And I thought about it and I'm like, no, you will not back down. Like and then I called Stevie Richards and Stevie's like, oh, Goldie, I don't think. And I'm like, no, Stevie, it wasn't a work. It was a shoot. And he's like, so I think he helped. And then I got a really, really nice call from Vince, like as adult as you could ever. And he's like, what are you talking about? You know, I'm like, Vince, you said, and he's like, I'd never do that to you. I'm like, well, I didn't know that. You know, it was a great conversation. And it just goes to show you, you know, don't just throw friendships away over a misunderstanding.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we've all been through that, right? That's one of those things where you can't jump to conclusions.
Not with Vince Russo.
I guess you're right. Listen, we're new to the Braves. He's already spun us around 18 times to get things done. So believe me, I know where you're coming from. It's no surprise.
Yeah, no, he's great.
You love him, though. You love him.
He's a dear friend. I'm really excited that you guys are on. That's so cool. I'll start paying attention and retweeting for you. Everybody's great about that on the brand, like Francine every day and Big Vito and like Ben. Everybody's so good about just sharing everybody's stuff. Like there's such a bunch of great people.
It's a nice little community, you know. It's a nice little family. Is what he calls it. It's a nice little brand family. But
it is.
But no, it's interesting. So so I mean, just you had the podcast. You mentioned that you're doing the podcast. And music's still going on, correct? Like the band's still going.
Well, I can't wait for it to start going.
Are you writing it all in the meantime? Anything going on?
Yeah, dude. Like we've so ever since in 2002 when I showed up for like the first pay-per-view, and then when we went over to the Asylum, there was this like long-haired guy walking around. He was running sound, and I was like, hey, I could smell it. I was like, what do you do? He's like, I do sound for TNA. I'm like, yeah, what else do you do? He's like, I play guitar. I'm like, oh yeah? You want to be in a band? Yeah. And like that was the audition. And that was Brian Bloomer. And I met him in 2002. And he stuck around for like 8-9 years. And then, you know, the band kind of reincarnates itself and new cast members. And we play like 2-3 nights a week and original or cover or whatever. And then you write in between. And that's just what you do. So there's that. And then the television and, you know, all of the, I guess not merchandise, but brand things that I have that I work on. And it's an interesting life. And I can't wait for the COVID to be done, you guys, so we can get back to normal.
It certainly has put a halt on just everything lifestyle and or entertainment wise. It's touched everyone. You know,
I don't like it. I'm done.
Yeah, I think we're all done.
it's tough. It's like, you know, you're waiting for people to smarten up a little bit and be like, take this thing seriously, because we're not winning this thing. And that's the sucky part. You think you are. And then it's like, oh, well, this state just had, 20,000 cases in one day. It's like, it's scary out there.
It is. And they're shutting down LA again, like end of this month. It's like, shutting back down again. It's just like
that's the proof in the pudding right there. It's like people got to start paying attention to this.
People need to start cleaning up the poop in LA too. I'm from there, so I can say that. You know, anytime there's just like shit on the streets, you know, Nancy Pelosi, hello.
Can we start cleaning the poop, guys? After this COVID thing's done, we get some poop cleanup in aisle 5.
Have you been to like Skid Row in LA?
Yeah.
I have. I walked through Skid Row to go to Leech Underground a couple years ago.
A couple years ago? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. It's like
it's
not livable.
My sister lives in Hollywood, and she actually volunteers and gives out food on Skid Row every Saturday. So like I went with her once. Yeah, it's tough. It is you can't even describe it. Like you gotta see it.
Yeah, it's tough to describe because like every major city you have the pockets that are like that, but Skid Row's a whole other thing. Yeah, it's just so long. It's like it's just looking at it, it looks like forever.
It is, and the saddest thing is so many of our U.S. military that are just they're just so gone in their mind from what they've done for our freedom, and it's like they just rot there, and it's like, why can't we? I don't know. I think I wish that we could put as much emphasis and concern and care and education on the as is on the COVID as what's going on in pockets like that. And like, what if everybody did something about that? There probably wouldn't be as much disease roaming around when there's just, you know, human feces floating down into the water, into the whole system and trash, and people are, it's just, you know what what was the thing? Oh, now the law is it's not illegal to give someone AIDS anymore.
Really? Like on purpose, not illegal to do? Really?
It's just like it used to be, like you could press charges if someone, now there's so much sickness, especially stemming in that area, that it's like everybody's sick. So, you know, they're not going to like prosecute you for it. And I'm not saying yay or nay. I'm just saying that's how dirty it is. So I don't know how we get on these deep ass conversations.
I don't know. This is a live podcast too. It's not just wrestling all the time.
Oh God, it's live. Oh God, you gotta tell me that. Oh God, I gotta watch my mouth.
Oh yeah. There's no edit button. It's okay.
I haven't said anything too bad yet. Oh God,
no, you're good. You're good.
Oh, Goldie.
It's okay. It's not a show unless we say something we regret.
Say everybody watching live, start clipping her clips now, so you can start putting them out now. But no, Goldie, listen. So we've been watching these old shows, and I know Bill's got a question he's dying to ask, like about certain ways. Like, okay, 2002 was a whole different world. Like PC was not around like it is today. Today, you can't even look and you can't even breathe in somebody's direction without them getting pissed off at you about something. But Bill, you wanted to ask. 2002, especially in wrestling, was a very, very different.
Yeah, it was definitely a different time, and obviously, you're doing upwards of probably 5 interviews a show on these pay-per-views,
or more.
Each one of them, or more. Like there was a lot of them, and a lot of the time, it's stuff that would not fly today. Like how they're kind of treating you. I know you said, like maybe how you interacted, you should have done things differently, but at least what comes off on screen to you is like, whoa, they really went there with her. And you always would just kind of give a look, but like you always handled yourself very well in there. But kind of what were you thinking during those times?
I was thinking the same thing as a very famous guy who called me up the other day to apologize for all that. And I just told him to shut up and sit down and listen to what I have to say. And he said, yes, ma'am. And I said, number 1, I'm a grown ass woman. Number 2, I signed up to be in pro wrestling. Number 3, I'm a grown ass woman. Number 4, it's entertainment. Number 5, shut up. Like, I don't want to hear your apology. If I had a problem with you, I would have told you then, just like I did with anyone. But as I've told everybody, I'm sorry to say everyone, but I don't have any problems with anyone. Everybody treated me 1000% with gold, with respect. Not one person ever crossed the line with me or even came close, because I think they probably knew deep down inside I'd rip their schwank off. Like I don't have time for that stuff. I don't, and I wish I could bottle what I have and give to other women. And I was young once too, not that I'm old, but like really, really young in my teens, and even then, I didn't sleep with anybody that I didn't love, and I didn't do anything that I didn't want to do with anybody that I wasn't a little hot for or whatever. And I look back at my days and I'm sorry that I can't contribute to anything that's going on right now. And I'm catching heat for that, but there's nothing negative that I can say because everybody treated me wonderfully.
Perfect.
Oh, no,
that's great to hear about the TNA locker room back then.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying about this stuff. No, I had no idea what was going on. And I told one of the people that apologized to me the other day, I said, I do motivational speaking to kids in schools, and especially the last 10 years, last 15 years. And the first thing that the principal pulls up is, Jerry Lynn telling me to open up and say, and I'm like, you know what? And some of the schools were like, I don't think we want you coming in. And I'm like, oh, really? You don't want me coming into your school and talking to kids that are going to relate to me because I was in wrestling and I'm in rock music and I do all this stuff. Like, you would like some boring bunhead perm, school marm to come in and tell them what it's like. Okay, great. And they're like, well, I just don't. I'm like, well, if you're that judgmental, I don't want to come to your school. Or you can give me a chance and, I can, come on. If it's like the Hemi band, what's the name of your band? Hemi?
Hemi, yeah.
Yeah, like if you guys came in and talked to some kids about positive life choices and then you just melted their face every other, you know what I'm saying? Like they freaking love it. And when we know 800 cover songs that are playing on the radio, like from now until Kingdom Come, and you can just like, anytime a kid gets out of line, you can just be like, rock out, start into some Pantera or whatever, play a little dime, it's like you get their attention, but that's the kind of stuff that I had no idea what was. I mean, yeah, some of it's scripted, but those guys just say whatever they want. I remember Sandman. I don't think he smashed a can on. I don't think it was a can on my head, but I got hit with something. I was always getting hit with something, or a chair, or shrapnel, or broken wood, or again, number one, I signed up. Like, I'm a grown up.
You know what you're getting into. Yeah.
Well, I didn't, but I did. And so when you sign up, then you can't just say, I signed up, but I'm offended by that. I don't really like that. Then go be a librarian.
I got to say one thing before you do, Jay. I know Jay Bone's itching to say something. But
it's all
I got to say, this is how I know she's a Midwesterner at her root. She referred to a cock as a schwank. I'll rip the That's how look, Jay Bone's in Wisconsin. I'm in Chicago.
Oh, okay? Chicago, the Bears.
We come up with like different words for like different shit all the time, and especially like when it comes to like your tool. It's like, oh, this little stick. I'll fucking rip off your stick. It's like, what are you talking about? Or your steckle, or your fucking this, or your whatever. You come up with just fucking words.
Yes.
Especially for like cock.
You guys say pop or soda? What do you say?
It's funny. I say soda, and I grew up in Chicago my whole life. But Jim,
soda.
He's a soda guy. I don't know. I don't know what it is.
All soda guys.
All soda guys. And I grew up in Chicago. I don't know. Everybody made fun of me for saying soda, not pop. But anyway,
pop is more like you get further down south, and it's pop, I think.
Jay Bones, you had a question, but I just can't stop looking at you because you are so Robert Downey Jr. I mean, like, dude, what's up, bro?
Look at that guy.
This is some good shit right here.
This beautiful man over here. Look at that.
I've been around a little bit. I've been doing this, yeah. So it's like I'm either freshly waxed or I'm a little rough on the edges.
I mean, you look like Robert Downey Jr., doesn't he?
Look at that. Beautiful. Look at Jay Bones. When was the last time you got a compliment like that, Jay Bones? Beautiful.
I've been called a few different things. I've been. What did Kyle call me?
I call you a lot of names.
He called me Homer. I've been mistaken. This is legit. I've been mistaken for Chris Daughtry.
Yes.
I took that with I was like wow, and that was like 2 or 3 times in 1 year, and that was
whatever. Pep in your step, huh?
I was working at Walmart third shift when these ladies were coming up to me, and I was like, yeah, don't tell anyone.
The whole career thing didn't work out.
Oh my god!
Go buy my CD, and they're like, oh, is it here? Is it? I'm like, yeah,
aisle 6. That's awesome. Go ahead, Jay. You were gonna ask something though.
Like, we've been doing this since last fall, and we did. I think we kind of went into it half-heartedly, like as an experiment. Trent has been he bought all these live back.
I watched them all, Goldie. I grew up with you. I'm telling you. Like I was there Wednesday nights, like a little Mark. My buddy's got every Wednesday we're watching them. But hey, I was looking. It's the only company I watched. That was it.
I'm legit watching these one at a time, one a week. Like we just watched it live. Like I legit shut it off minutes before we went live. So it's like all fresh in my head.
I love it.
Older.
I love it.
And it's so wild west, very similar to what's going on right now. I think that's why I appreciate it even more. You never know who's going to show up.
No, you don't. You don't.
That's beautiful.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know. They're like, hey, go out there and interview this guy. Who am I interviewing? Chris Rock, like the TV star or movie star. Yeah, just go out there and say what? What? I don't know. Just go figure it out. I'm like, what am I talking about? What's the angle? What's the match? Why is he here? Like, I don't know. Just go out there. And they'd literally push me out there in high heels down this ramp, and I'd get stuck and the pyro would be blowing, and I'd hope that my hair didn't catch on fire, and I had and then it's like, oh, Goldilocks, she sucks balls. And I'm like, well, you would too, pal. Schwanker. Like, you don't even know. And I'm just smiling, wondering, or like Tony Schiavone just like completely like going off on me. And I'm like,
that was crazy.
What do I say here?
That was a couple weeks ago.
Like a few weeks ago.
Hey, like, what do I say to this? Like, wow. Because I'd like to go off, but I know that's not really my place in wrestling. But I'm just like, I'm sure he didn't even know. Like, it's probably Vince. Vince was always like, there's so many Vince stories. And like, I mean, when I first encountered Vince, it was okay. You're gonna go out to the ring, and then you're gonna take a bump, and then your shirt's gonna open up, and then your bra's gonna come off. And I'm like, no, it's not gonna come off. What are you talking about? And I'm like, I'm the backstage interviewer, and I'm here to sing songs and whatnot. I'm not here to like show my boobs, okay? And he's like, oh no, it's gonna be real quick. It won't be a big deal. And I'm like, no, it's a big deal. My mom and dad are watching. Not gonna do that. Okay. So then what we're gonna do is somebody's gonna approach you and you're gonna take a bump, and then your shirt's gonna fly open and just your bra. You'll just be in your bra. And I'm like, no, I'm not just gonna be in my bra, and I'm not gonna And he's like, what are you talking about? And then like after
he turns it on you. What are you talking about? It's like, no. What do you mean? What
I said, get some other person to do that, which they did. Another story.
We anyway, that one too. It's like, whoa.
That's true. We did. We're like right around this time period.
I got no comment on that. That's like,
Gold. I got to ask you a question though. Did you? Now, one of the guys, I work with some indies in Indy out here in Chicago. So one of the guys, the guy who owns it is Danny Daniels, who was a former wrestler.
Okay.
He mentioned he remembers running into you. Did you do anything with IWA Mid-South before you went to TNA?
Not before, I think after or something. I did so many indie things that I had no idea like what I couldn't even tell you like what I was going on. I was so out. That's what I'm saying. I was so out of it back then. I didn't know what I was doing, and I was just showing up all over the place. And half the time people weren't paying me, or I'd get stiffed, or I mean, there's just all these stories about guys getting stiffed, and then like you see the promoter like sneaking out like after the first couple of matches because there's no crowd and he's not going to be able to pay, and then like somebody sees him and goes out to the back alley and like, you know, puts him a headlock and makes him drive to the ATM. And it's just so like hardcore. Like the stories that I've heard are just like so mafiosa.
It's so funny. Yeah, he was telling me. I was like, we're gonna have our show, and he's like, because he wrestled. He did the Indies and he did ECW, and he was like, I remember running into her at IWA. I think she did. So I'm like, really? I didn't know you did any indie stuff. I thought it was strictly TNA.
I started to do some indie stuff again. I was training a little bit with Kurt Hennig, and then he passed away. And I thought maybe I could do some bumps. You know, not anything, not like extreme Francine going through tables and whatnot. But and I'm glad that I didn't, because she talks about how much pain she's in now. Like her body hurts. All of these guys and girls' bodies hurt, and I just got fired, so mine doesn't hurt. But, it's just, I look back at all that time, and I wish I could go back and do some things differently.
Well, what's one of the things? Let's like, what's one of your what's the biggest thing you'd say?
I wish that I had a better attitude. I wish that I would have had more respect. I wished I would have gotten to know the guys and girls better. I wish that because I lived in Beverly Hills, I didn't think that I was better than everybody else with my big record deal and all that jazz. I wish that I did some, and I don't give myself enough credit, but I wish I would have dove in deeper to the storylines and contributed better and more, where I could have found more holes to fill. And, I've just started to get it, like as always. It's not always too late, you know.
Sure.
I just started to get it when I got axed, and I'll never forget the day that I got fired at Universal Studios, and they were doing all the green screen, like the fold your arms, look to camera, look hot, smoldering, and like everybody was doing their turn to camera spots, and I just remember thinking, you know, I'm second to last for dodgeball. When am I going to get picked? And like somebody was like, hey, what about Goldilocks? And David Sahadi, one of the directors, I saw him do this, like, and I was like, oh, shit. And I remember,
That's how you found out?
No, I went to James Storm and I said, James, I said, I think I'm going to get fired. And he's like, Goldie, you are. And I'm like, what? And he's like, I didn't want to tell you, but yeah, I'm like, why are they firing me? And he said, because you're a liability because of, you know, what's been going around in the locker room. I'm like, what? I never said any of that, you know, and somebody just didn't want me there and talked some crap, and everybody knows who it is and whatnot. And it was water under the bridge. It was years ago, but like, I never said all that. It got completely misconstrued. And I went to Jeff and I was like, Jeff, are you gonna, he's like, Goldrin, you're a liability. And I'm like, but I never said any of that stuff. Like, I already had my chance to sue you guys when we first started, and I didn't. I took one for the team. I kept my mouth shut. Like, I did everything I was supposed to do. And he's like, we're just too big right now. We're too big of an organization, and this is your last show, so you can pack up your stuff and go. And I was just like, it was awful because I just started to figure out my place and like what I could do to like contribute. And I'm not like all those sexy girls doing all that stuff, guys. I'm a Minnesota girl, and I'm hometown, and I'm more psychological than titsological. And I mean, I like a good swimsuit fitness photo like the rest of us, but like that's not how I pay my dues, you know, and other girls do, and that's fine. That's their thing. But I'm just like, what you see is what you get, kind of a tomboy, and, you know, doing my thing. And I thought that I finally found my way with TNA, and then that's just when things, but who knows? Maybe if you stayed, I could have died the next day or taken a bad bump.
Exactly.
Or, you know, everything happens for a reason. I'm not mad about it.
You're Midwest tough. Yeah.
That's right.
Midwest tough.
You know how it is.
Oh, for sure.
All these goddamn winners over here, I don't make anybody fucking talk.
You know, the Goldie's Closet this week is with ODB, and her thing, and God, is she
what
hardcore.
She went through this last year? Holy shit, though.
Oh, yeah.
What did she go through? Her last year or this last year?
Last year with her food truck burning down and everything.
I didn't know it burned down. We didn't talk about that.
She literally just got her business back right at the turn of this whole COVID thing starting.
No, they did a fundraiser. Impact brought her back in, and you were at the show, Bill, where all the ticket sales in New York went to buy her a new food truck.
Oh my God!
New Woodstream.
Yeah. So Bill, you were at those shows, right, Bill?
Yeah.
How cool is that?
So super cool. Like, they brought her back in she had a whole run. She was on the pay-per-view in January.
For the Knockouts title. Yeah.
She was back on. She was back on for a little bit. It was pretty.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
It was it was a matter of family taking care of family. It really came off that way. I was really happy to see that too. What were you gonna say, Jay?
I was going to say, what I was going to say earlier is just kind of piggybacking off of what Wild Bill was saying. We're watching these episodes and we're seeing how, now look, we get it, it's wrestling, but we're seeing how you get treated. But we also see that you're not taking any shit, and that's
the best part. Yeah,
it's so refreshing, and we're just, and you kind of already touched on it. We're just like, oh my God, what was that whole experience like? And was like, who was like your favorite person to work with in the beginning of all this wild west feeling?
Yeah, who was like a favorite? Because you would improv back and forth. Like, they give you shit, you'd give shit right back. I could tell it was off the cuff.
Oh no, it was all off the cuff. Ironically, I was going to have him on the podcast, and then something happened. Like, the Dups were just hysterical. Like, they were. Oh my! Wait till you get to some of it. It's just horrible.
Saw the Dups. Show her. You got the J-Bone's got his own Dup cup. Remember the?
I got it right. My wife is a crafter, and she's Midwest tough, just like you. So props to that. So this is the TNI Bone Dup cup because Mrs. J-Bone made it.
We were watching those episodes, so we kept talking about it, and it became a running gag with all the listeners about the rules of the Dup cup.
The Dup cup.
Right? And so like, he told his wife, and she made him a Dup cup.
Oh, it's just so stupid. I mean, but they were really like funny guy, and so intelligent. And then again on the podcast a couple weeks ago, Alan Funk and Lenny Lane with
love the Alan Funk episode.
Rainbow Express. Like, I mean, those guys are hysterical. Buff Bagwell used to call me Goldy Lick. It would just be like, okay, Goldy Lick, and I'd be like, it's Locks, and he'd be like, Lick Locks, whatever. Yeah. Like, he was really, really funny. Sonny Siaki and I were always really close, just great buddies.
Do you still talk to him? Can you get him on your show?
I've tried. I can't quite get him to respond, but
he is like one guy that comes up a lot, and no one can get a hold of him. Like, the last they saw him, he was on Family Feud with his family, and that was the last time that he saw him.
Yeah, I reached out to Elix, and Elix just had some bad things happen, and he just says, I'm just not, but I love you, sister. He's wonderful. Like, and then James Storm, I give him shit I gave him shit on Twitter today because after 18 years, he just followed me today on Twitter. I was like,
I saw that.
Too cool over there.
You dick. I said, you baby asshole. He's like, he stars in which he did an amazing job in All To You. He plays like the modern day equivalent of Jesus. And I mean, you think of these guys as just, they're just wrestlers or they're workers or they're from the South. I mean, James showed up with like a blazer on with like a cross on the back. And he's like, do you think this would be, I'm like, wow. And then he brought his crucifix that his grandfather gave him before he died. And like, that's something that gets ripped off him in the video and thrown at him. I mean, just like the whole performance is so great. Alan Funk, Chase Stevens, it was like the film crew that was there, it was stripped down because we'd already spent like $30,000. Like I was already like, I drained my savings on this one because I was like, it just needed to keep going and it wasn't done yet. And like these guys just showed up, and like to have those kind of, sports entertainment professionals like that could just block out this insane scene. Okay, guys, I need this. And I mean, they just freaking did it. And like, if you guys haven't watched the video, watch the fight scene. It's just it's so good. And it's like, I'm just in awe of what they bring to the table. And another person that I just loved and still talk to is Trinity, Stephanie. Yeah, and I mean, God, what a hardcore bitch. Just
she is such a bad.
I mean, you want to talk about like no issues with her, no bullshit. She would go to the ring with caution tape over her nipples. And as another woman, I was like, well, God dang. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right. Like, I didn't have a problem with anything because she put the work behind it. She's a stunt person. She lights herself on fire. She falls out of buildings. And she's a stunt, like I said, a stunt woman. And
legit stunt woman.
Like so talented with everything, and so humble and so cool, and it starts with a C and it rhymes with a bunt cake. Not that kind of girl. And I just really, she's always the first person to plug and promote something, and just not a bitch. And I just love her to this day. Like, and I can't say that about a lot of women because they're bitches. They just are. I don't like them.
That fact. Now, Bill, you watched the video. You said you watched it today, you were saying?
Well, I watched it actually, what was it, about a week ago? I had seen it for the first time, and I watched it a few times since. And yeah, it's obviously what she said, like James Storm, but it's like it might not be what you're expecting. Like it's deep. It's like a deep very video. Deep. Don't go in there just expecting like something very light. It's a powerful video with a deep message.
Myra Diaz Gomez from NWA. She was the woman the Muslim woman in the beginning who cuts her wrist. Yeah, I mean, you look at her Instagram, like va 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 voom, And she even went to like special acting classes just to play that role, and just like completely crushed it. And we picked her. So cool. We picked Muslim woman at the very end, is because there's so many women that come to America, or even that are in their own country, that they come to America and they want to be like us, and like they have to still abide by like their religious rules, which in my opinion are horrific, and they kill themselves. And it's like, to find somebody to play that part, like everybody was all on board to just cut their wrist. But then when I'm like, and you're a Muslim woman, and they're like, no, I won't do it. Like none of the actresses would do it. Myra did it, and she crushed it.
Good for her, man. Good for her. No egos, just you're doing something that's going to mean something. No ego about it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I gotta watch it. I gotta watch that video. I just want to quick give you props for your cover of Pearl Jam's Black. I've watched that a few times.
Dude, thank you for saying that. That was like and it went to #2 on Billboard. What the great? I couldn't even believe that. Did you watch the video for that though?
Yeah. You play the mom and
I play the heel in that one, and everybody's like,
you did. I was like shocked. I was like, whoa, she's like a horrible person in this video, but it's a modern and an old school twist. The kids listen to the tape player, and like, wow, it took me back several years. Not that I went through that, but it was just like, wow, it was really something.
Yeah, like the whole thing, if you watch it again, the entire video, Black, Goldilocks, man. It's on Russo's channel again. The whole video, J-Bones, the whole video, every single thing in it is 90s. We bought it off of eBay or found it. Like everything is from that era. Like even the poster on the end where it says like something skin deep. What does it say? Child abuse is the kid. It's a poster from the 90s for 1-800 for a child. And like the trailer that we were in, we were going to shoot that. We had it all set. I paid somebody down the way and they were so drunk the morning of the shoot that the woman and his old lady and him, they wouldn't let us in. I'm like, and I had a hunch and I'd paid another guy across town. And I said, look, just in case we need another look, even though I didn't want to say you are like backup, wink, wink. Right. And I just called him on the phone. I said, hey, bro, we're coming over. We're going to give you some money. Like, he's like, okay. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know what to expect or whatever. We go in there and like literally the shit on his walls is from 1992. Like all of his NASCAR posters, 91, 92, the cans of beer that he has out in bottles, 91, 92. It's like he froze time in the exact time that we needed it to be. And then like even in the therapist's office, like there's a Bret Hart doll from 92 in there. You know what I mean? There's like there's an Urkel doll. There's like all this like candy in there that you wouldn't know unless you. So like that's why I teased it and said, Bret Hart is going to be in this video.
There you go.
That's a fact.
Marketing. It's marketing. Damn it. Very cool. That's really cool. That's super. Now, okay, you mentioned the music now. You did music I remember you did like several entrance themes too, right? Like after you were off TV though.
Yeah,
this was like later on, right?
Yep. I just kept them coming.
You did Dixie. You did what's her name? Tara. I remember that. I'm trying to think who else. If you know them offhand, just throw them at me.
I don't know a lot of them offhand because they just used my stuff. They just use them, right? And I didn't even know what it was, becoming. So I did a lot of Trinities. Trinity was so great. She always would come to me and say, like, I want a new one or this or that. We did Dodging Bullets. We did Supergirl. We did like all of this stuff. And then one of the producers that I worked with at TNA we would work together. We would write stuff and then he would kind of cut it together, Frankenstein into something else.
That's interesting. So interesting. So like, was it like you leaving, but you kept doing the music? Was it pretty cool? You guys kept a good relationship. I mean, obviously Dixie loved your songs.
It was. Again, I wish I could have done more.
Yeah. Did they ever contact you again? Have you ever been contacted recently? I've always wondered that. Like they were talking about bringing. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. No, they were talking about what?
No, because they've done a lot of TNA nostalgia in the past year. Like Bill, like you've seen it. Like they've been talking TNA constantly now. Like it's back to they're talking doing a second show. They're showing clips from old TNA nowadays, and like they were gonna do a TNA reunion show. They did a mini one, which Bill went to, right? But I was like,
yeah.
Did they ever talk about bringing you back in for like revive the backstage interview just for like a night or something?
Chase Stevens was back.
Came back.
Was he?
Kid Kash.
Yeah. Kid Kash came back. Raven was back. All these guys from that era. And I was like, where the hell's the first knockout?
Where's Goldie? Where's Goldie?
Do you know if you go back in, I think they'll show it on TNA. It's a Vince did this. We used to do all of our old like man show, girls behaving badly. Me and Trinity and I would go film all this stuff. She'd come to LA and we just run around with cameras and film. I have to scratch my boob. Excuse me. We don't. Thank you. Somebody said
that's a soundbite right
there.
Thank
you. Yes. Take it away, guys. Gotta do what you gotta do. So Trinity and I would film all of this random stuff, and then Vince would like take our camcorder stuff and like put it on the air. And I think it was like pissing people off, leading to my termination with like, why are these girls, why is she getting all this camera time? Because it was funny. And like, one of the things that we did was Bums on the Beach, where we decided, now WWE had some of their stuff and TNA had nothing. Okay.
Right.
And I said, we're going to shoot our own calendar. So we started to just make up our own calendar with our own photographs, which those photographs ended up inspiring the entire TNA knockout calendar. So you are right. I'm not trying to like put myself over, but the reason there was a knockout thing is because Trinity and I got mad that they weren't doing anything with these girls with good bodies and good looking chicks and WWE was. So like literally there is a clip of me in my Beverly Hills bathroom with Trinity just like half dressed. And she's like, look at the shoes that I'm wearing, and her shit's hanging out everywhere. And I'm like, but they aired that. And then they started airing like all this crazy stuff. And we literally found some homeless guys on the beach. I gave him my camera. I shot Trinity. And then I said to this bum, I just said, that's not a nice word anymore, is it? Homeless person. I said, here, take this camera. And if you touch it, you're schwanker again.
Schwanker.
And
well,
so
that schwanker, buddy.
So he came up and shot like some really, really great photos of ours, and it went into the calendar. And then they had another guy show up at the asylum and shoot the rest of the girls. That's how the whole knockouts division was actually born, because of we were annoyed.
There you go. You know, out of annoyance brings creativity.
Spike calendar. I like it.
Spike calendar.
So you could call yourself the first knockout.
I have.
Yeah.
I always call.
Where have you been, Trent? Trent just said that.
I've been
Robert Downey Jr.
I'm just saying you legitimized it right there.
Okay,
it blows my mind because they put the women over so much. Like it's such a big focus now. It's all women's revolution, women's wrestling, and like Impact's really good about it. And I'm like, how the hell do you guys? And this is not just me blowing smoke up your ass because you're here. It literally is like, how the hell do you guys never mention Goldilocks or Trinity at least? You know, it's like, how do you guys not mention these? They were the OGs from like the early first handful of shows. Like, give me a fucking break. How do you not say anything? And it goes for like a lot of other talent too. It's like, man, come on, guys. You're like, let's lay off like the Kurt Angle clips once in a while and just show some of these, building block people once in a while more.
I am gonna tweet exactly what I'm talking about when we're done. I'm gonna tweet it and tag you guys in it so you can see exactly what I'm talking about, because it's really funny.
Please do. No, I'm vaguely remembering it. I'm just trying to recall it offhand, but it'd be great to jog my memory again.
Oh, for sure.
I watched it all, and I there's so much stuff. As I'm watching the Wednesday ones, I'm like, oh shit, I remember when this happened. Oh shit, I remember when this happened. I remember when Goldie and Glenn got into it on the disco the jive talking.
Do you know, like, I have a Patreon now.
Yeah.
And the Patreon has a show. Oh, I was going to say the Patreon, Patreon/Goldilocks. Patreon every week has a show called The Daily Dump. Okay. And it's very Tosh.0, but it's me sitting on a toilet on a green screen in a studio. And every week we pick a theme. And one of the theme was shit. So the poop emoji, whatever. And speaking of shit, here's Glenn Gilberti. And it goes to that. And it's like, do you remember that? It was horrible. That he's like,
you and him had on TV. You're talking about.
I'm just saying, like, he called me a dumb bitch, and like and I came out and like I didn't know that was gonna go down. I didn't know Paulina from Tough Enough was gonna come out and choke. I didn't know. I just was all.
Yeah. That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm like. I'm like the way your facial reaction was. I'm like, there's no fucking way.
No.
You saw this coming at all.
No.
Like, what the fuck is happening? He's like calling you. He's like, you stupid bitch. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, what the fuck? So it was like, I mean, I get it. Look, I'm thick skinned. Again, back to the Midwest.
Yeah.
We talk a lot of shit. But at the same time, it's like, there's certain ways, and you're just like, there's no way they've scripted that shit.
No, and that's just it when people are like, oh, it's all scripted. I'm like, no, it's not. No, it's not. I know that I'm supposed to go out on stage and just do whatever you need to do. Like, that's basically what I'm told. And if you want to slap somebody, if you feel like you're going to slap them, slap them. If you want to give them a crotch shot, give them a crotch shot. They might pick you up. They might throw you over, like, and then here's your instructions are just be limp. Whatever they do with you, just be limp. I have no idea what's going to happen when I take this bump or where I'm going to fly next or what's going to happen. Just be limp. Just be relaxed and be limp. That's the advice that you get. And if you don't like it, then go be a librarian. I stand by that. Like, yeah, my fate. And I don't think Vince told me about a lot of stuff because I think he wanted a very authentic, real reaction.
Which is cool. Yeah.
It is. And I don't tell my bandmates about things, you know, when we film stuff, like I purposely just take them by surprise because I think you get better television that way. All the stuff with Eric Watts, like a lot of that stuff. I don't know. You're probably not to that point yet, but like, that's
that's the main event of this episode.
This episode we're going to review after you leave today is the one where he just shows up, Eric Watts. Like he just showed up today. So
really? Well,
we're just on that one right now.
The whole reason that I became a manager and not just a backstage interviewer was because on a pay-per-view, I got done, ladies and gentlemen, back to you, Don West. And then all of a sudden Eric just comes in and sticks his head in and goes, oh, by the way, you left one of your shoes at my apartment last night or something. And I was like my face was like, dude, we're on live TV. Like, what did you just, what? Yeah. And then I was like, what just happened? And then they cut. And then the next time I came to work, the office was like, all right, well, we're writing you in as a character. Now you're managing him. I'm like, you're his girlfriend. I'm like, what? I'm like, okay, I wanted to keep my job. So I'm like, oh, great. I'll be Eric's girlfriend. And then that whole thing goes along. And then everyone in Nashville, when they see me dating anybody else, because I'm not really dating Eric Watts.
Right.
Like, you know, I was getting like spit on and people throwing their drinks on me at Outback Steakhouse, you know, like, how dare you cheat on Eric Watts? You dirty whore. Yeah, dirty whore. Do you know that she's a home wrecker? And I'm like, just with one of my friends from LA, like trying to enjoy a steak. Forget it.
Yeah. You gotta love
it. Go eat your blooming onions.
Yeah.
This episode that we were just about to review, you're interviewing Conan, and Hoovy comes out and debuts, walks behind you, and at the end of the interview cracks you on your ass, and you start cussing at him in Spanish. and I was just like,
she's a bilingual badass.
Your look is priceless, and I'm like, oh, did she know that was coming? Because she looked legit pissed the hell off.
No, and like what I said was so politically incorrect. Like I just told him to screw his mom. You know, I mean, that's like horrible.
My Spanish is horrible, but I knew it was horrible.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to be mean, but I kind of miss just being able to say like what you needed to say. Like, I don't know. It was Wild Wild West. And I miss growing up in Minneapolis, Minnesota in the hood. And I miss like just making fun of what you made fun of, and it was real. And like, nobody had a problem with anything growing up. Nobody was offended about anything. Like, if anything, you learned to get some thick skin and come up with some. Do you remember like when we grew up, it was like, I mean, the dancing now is like, look at my vagina. I can open it and spread it on you. Yeah. I can take my pants off and like jiggle my fat ass. Like, that's amazing. How would you do that? How'd you do that? That's so awesome. Or like half the stuff I see girls doing, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. I mean, no other woman in the universe, ugly, fat, skinny, short, whatever, can have sex. You're special. Yeah. And it's like, I'm over it. And like, when we were growing up, it's like, you would have like dance offs, or like people actually had dance moves that you had to learn and like improvise, or rapping was, you know, back and forth. Like you just stand there on the street corner and like who could dog the other person out and it was good.
It was talent. And good challenge. Yeah.
It was good. It's like every single thing was good and was based around talent. And now it's just like, how big of a nipple can I fill the screen with? Or, you know, this or that, or like, how mean can I be in rapping? And it's not even, it's just all made up. It's all fabricated. And now everybody's offended about everything. And it's like the stuff that's even being said isn't even that offensive. Go back to when we were growing up. It was offensive, but like nobody cared.
Nobody cared because it didn't have any lasting power. You just moved on with it. That was it. But now it's lowest common denominator shit. You know, how many F-bombs can you throw into a rap song to make it harder, you know, or how much more skin can you show? It's like the most basic dumbed down shit.
It is.
It's not actual talent. You're relying on just the dumbest shit to get yourself over. And it's like that with any entertainment now, even music. You know, it's just like the more basic you go. If I overkill you with the most basic shit, it'll overpower the fact that I can't do it for real. You know? That's literally what it is now.
I agree.
But
yet wrestling's watered down today.
Yeah, wrestling's watered down.
Oh my god, dude!
Oh, just a little.
You don't watch it anymore much, do you? Like,
I mean, I watch some just because of now. Like, I'm with Vince's people and I'm paying attention to stuff, and it's like, I don't know. I'm just kind of embarrassed for a lot of people, and I don't mean to be mean because like I'm not like a big worker or anything like that, but like it just wasn't as, and I'm not trying to sound old, like, oh, back in the glory days, but I mean, just like, it's no different than SNL. I mean, yeah, there's some good people on SNL, but it's still not like it was in the 90s or even the 80s, or like when, you know, I wasn't really around with John Belushi and when Eddie Murphy and all those guys were like in their heyday, but like, I know it was like really solid. And then, you know, the Chevy Chases and even the Will Ferrells and all that, like those types of guys, like there was some good stuff. And then it's not bad these days, but it just seems like now they got to be so politically correct on everything that it's just,
it's too safe.
It's not fun.
Yeah, you got to be so careful. Like it's to the point now where you might piss someone off. Someone tells a sponsor and you lose your job the next day. That's what today has become.
No, I can't even handle that. I don't want to. It's like, and lately all of these people are like, they're coming under fire, and I go like, why? I go to see what it is, and I'm like, what? Like, why are we even fucking talking about this? Why are you talking about this? There's people that need help out there. Or like I said, our veterans, or there's people dying, or they're sick, and you're talking about, like, there was something the other day about Kanye, and they made a reference to when Mariah Carey had a meltdown on TRL? And Carson Daly and was just like, I just don't understand her behavior. And I'm like, okay. And I went to watch it, and she like walked in and she's like, hey, everybody. And she like took off her shirt because she had on another outfit underneath.
Yeah.
Fine. And she was like, hey, this is my such and such. And it was like, and I watched it and I'm like, okay, where's the
meltdown?
What am I topic for here? That's like, this is nothing. It's like, is there nothing to talk about that you need to just create something out of? Like, there's real shit going on out there. Why don't you address and deal with that and stop like creating all of this stuff that doesn't, it's just bullshit.
Yeah.
It's insulting to me. It's my time on earth. I've had enough people close to me that have died. I lost my mom a few years ago. I got a handicapped dad. You know, I'm sorry, bro, but like, I'm from freaking Minnesota where shit's real and cold and it's 20 below zero and maybe your car will start and maybe not. And it's like, you know, it's a feet of snow and school is not canceled and you better figure out a way to get there. And we used to cross country ski to school or the snowshoe gimmick and there was just
both ways.
Exactly. But there was just there was no leniency for any crap. And it's just like now I don't even want to hear stuff. So back to your question, I do watch some wrestling, but sometimes I'm just embarrassed. Like, what does this have to do with anything? And then one thing that I hear Ben Hameen going off about, which I have to agree with, is like, if you're going to play your part and do your thing and your shtick and then be that. Don't just
commit to it.
Then don't be on Instagram, like getting your pedicure done and what? Like, it just doesn't, it's, you know, take responsibility for the job that you have.
I agree with that. I agree with that big time. Bill, I know you might want something to say. I don't mean to keep dominating over here. Poor Bill set the whole thing up over here, and I'm like,
these are all good topics. I think they're going in the right direction.
I'm looking at Bill, and he's sitting there quiet. I'm like, oh my, God. He's, we just started having him on regularly on the Throwback show here, and I'm like sitting there just dominating. He's probably like, why the fuck did I even waste my time with this today? What am I doing?
No. You did the weekly pay-per-views, Trent. I'm giving you a lot of.
Come on, Bill. What do you got? What do you got, Bill? What do you got for me, Bill? What do you got for me, bro?
Go ahead, Bill. I'm gonna let you get one in here, Bill. Go ahead.
What do you got, bro?
I was right there with the current what's going on currently, but. Now, I don't know, obviously, with your history with TNA and Impact, have you been watching any of their product the last, let's say, 2 years?
No, I see a little bit of it here and there. Like, I don't watch it as religiously as I used to. And I know it's got to be really hard to come up with storylines. I know that's got to be exhausting and hard to kind of recreate the wheel all the time. But, like, again, what I've seen, I wasn't that, like, I don't know. I wasn't that blown away.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, listen, nowadays wrestling isn't for everybody. I mean, it shows Numbers aren't what they were. It's not for everybody nowadays. So, but
it's not just
for me.
It's not
Somebody
just,
that's been watching forever. Yeah,
it's not just TNA. It's not
everybody.
just TNA.
It's all
No,
of it.
it's everybody.
Yeah. It's the industry. It's the industry altogether. It's just not for everybody anymore.
That's it. It's interesting that you say, because like I didn't have a lot of wrestling background when I came into TNA, and it's interesting that you said like I was that guy and I did watch that and I did choose that promotion. And why did you choose that promotion? Because it was Wild Wild West, and it was just like you could tell like crap was happening and nobody knew what was going to happen next. Or
exactly. I liked Vince's style of writing. I was always a big fan of like the chaos. I like when wrestling can fool me, and that was the best.
Okay.
It's like I didn't see any of it coming. I'm watching them now after seeing them, and I'm like, holy fuck, I didn't know that was happening. I forgot that happened. I'm still popping for it as a viewer. Like I'm not involved in it. I'm just watching it because we do the show, and I'm like, I love that 20 years later, this shit can still pop me. And I'm like, it's just that style. And it's not that formulaic style like the other companies are, very, very scripted, formulaic. I love that Vince was like, let's just throw a lot of shit at you and you sort it out in your head and you don't even have time to figure it all out. But just by the end of it, you're just like, oh, you just need that cigarette after or something. You're like, holy shit. I just like, it's like having intense sex. You're like, holy fuck, what the hell did I just go through here? And I love that.
Just like that, Trent.
Well, I think Trent, you can say, because I know you were a big WCW fan.
I was WCW.
I was a big WCW fan, and I was an original ECW fan down in Philly.
There you go.
And it was a very similar feel, that early TNA.
Just chaos,
to those promotions. Yeah, crazy. Every week, who's going to show up? How crazy will it get? And that's really what it was. If you liked more of that WWF, WWE, they went in the Attitude Era, but that was just really an ECW knockoff. TNA was for you. That's why that became that.
That's
that
fair. And I didn't know about WCW and I didn't know about ECW until like now. And then I'm just like, oh my God, I'm working with all these great men. And I had no idea. I do remember though, I don't know where I got the idea, but I knew that Vince would fly in every week and Dutch, and like they would have these meetings usually at the Vanderbilt, Lowe's Vanderbilt
the hotel.
Yeah. And I remember paying somebody, and then somebody's like, I think Vince he's like, who'd you pay? And I'm like, he said, you paid Borash, didn't you? And I was like, I think I paid Borash or somebody to tip me off. Like, where is it? And then I'm like, okay, great. I got the hotel, but it's a huge hotel. Like, what room? And that's going to cost you. And fine, here. And so I remember like putting on like the tape that the drag queens do, like really tight tape like this, and then the black wig gimmick and like a geisha dress. And I remember going to the hotel and like I was shaking because I'm like, are you really gonna do this? Like I was like, no, you're gonna freaking do this. And so like I knocked on the door and I plugged the peephole and all I started is, yeah, who's there? Who's there? And I'm like, hello, this is Catherine. Who the hell? Who's there? And I was like, this is Catherine. And like they opened the door and I was like, good evening, gentlemen. And I was like speaking in some sorts of strange, I don't know what accent. And I just was like, I said, I'm here to change the rules. And like Jeff Jarrett was like, what the fuck? What is this? And like,
who the fuck is this?
And nobody knew who it was. And they're like, who are you? And I was like, I was hoping that you would ask that question, gentlemen. And like, they were all just like, what? Like, seriously, like, what the fuck? Yeah. And like, I was like, it's me, guys. It's Goldie. Like, it didn't look like me and it didn't sound like me. And this whole thing, and I was like, guys, I've got this idea, like where every week I show up with a new gimmick and like I have a split personality and like, and they went for it. And I applaud Vince for that and for pushing, because I look back at some of those. God, there's one you haven't seen it yet where I show up and I think to myself, I'm Hispanic and I've got the gold tooth and I'm like, and it's really funny. And like, and he's like, hey, Sybil, whoever you are this week. And I was like, hey, it's really, I think I got like a cigarette or something like that. It's really good. But I'm like, would that fly? Or would that be like, would I be, politically incorrect by playing, this, but I'm playing the part of somebody that like, loses their mind. But like Vince is just like, has no time for me during the promo. And he's just, get out of here, Sybil, Goldie, whatever you call yourself. And it's really, really good. And it's like, it was really Wild Wild West. And the best thing about it is there was there was a Spanish guy that called the color commentary.
Mhm.
He was always on my ass anyway, as just me. But then every week when I showed up as, I'm like, you idiot, it's me. It's the same person. You horny mother trucker. And he was always like, and he would like rubberneck like all over the place. And I'm like, oh my God, it's a freaking wig and a gold tooth. But then when I showed up as the Hispanic gimmick, I thought his penis was going to erupt, like he just couldn't handle it. His testicles were just like waving at me and going to fly away. Like,
flapping around, waving at you.
It's the same person. It's the same gimmick. I'm a different person every week. Like, are you not watching the show that you're calling?
He still got it. How about
what?
that?
God. I just couldn't even believe it. Like week after week, I'm showing up in different gimmicks, and he's just, who's the new girl?
Who's the new girl every week? Yeah, what a light bulb that guy is, huh?
We're gonna send this to Scott D'Amore and be like, hey, this is Goldie's audition tape. Would you please bring her in? Because this is Goldie.
God. I swear to God.
Would you be down to do like a one night only type of?
I would, you know what? I would join the promotion again with what I know now, and I would knock it. Like, as far as I would love to go back and play the most demonic heel that you've ever seen in your life. Like, just like, I'm talking like evil. Like, I would love to do that more. That would give me a reason to just be, I'm already swimsuit ready, but like, I'm still like pretty. Yeah, I still got guns. Like I still got guns, but I mean, like I would love to just get like so ripped and show like somebody that's not 20 anymore can still look good and be evil. Like I would love to go back or do whatever, but it would be cool to just be like really extreme and then actually do my freaking homework and know like what I'm get with the guys and know what I'm doing. Like I didn't know what I was doing back then.
I know one of these lunatics in the chat, in the live chat over. I know you guys are watching. Someone's going to clip that and tag Scott D'Amore and be like, look at this. Look who's ready. She's got the gun. She's ready to go.
Oh, yeah, right. No, I would like to make good on what I didn't do before. So
I think it'd be great just to, even if it's a one night only,
even if
it's just one of those things where I'm like, it's so due to just have you back for a night. It
would be so fun to just like absolutely have like the Dups back or some of the people that I really had a problem with and like just go at it.
Recreate it. Oh, it'd be so much fun. Like
the Sinister Minister shows up with Goldilocks, but it's not Goldilocks. It's Goldilocks from the undead realm, and you show up all crazy and dark eyeliner.
I would love it.
And then Susie looks and goes, "God damn,"
right?
So Jim Mitchell, who you work with too, they got a great thing going on with him where he's been because he came back. He's off now.
He's back and forth, but yeah, they wrote him off a couple months ago. I'm guessing for personal reasons, but he's always been some kind of part of the promotion. Yeah.
Do you know what's crazy? Okay, so right now when I get off this, I have to finish editing the Daily Dump, and this one is on Satan, and there's a bunch of stuff and then the clip that but you know what sucks is, and I shouldn't say this live, but like. We can't use any little clips anymore because it gets flagged for copyright.
Oh, it sucks.
So I found a way around it.
There you go. There is a little loophole to that. There is a loophole to it. I know what you mean. Yes.
There is a loophole. Yeah.
No, but it'd be great. Like have you run into him backstage or something. Just a little callback to those days would just be awesome. And they've been, like I said earlier, Bill knows they've been embracing this a ton more lately. Like TNA stuff.
I would love to.
The nostalgia's back, and they're talking. Bill, you were telling me they're thinking about doing a secondary show now, like a TNA throwback show. Or something.
maybe this time slot, a couple months from now, maybe you have an hour-long TNA show.
They're talking.
That would
be great.
No, I would love it. Everybody knows that. I definitely would do. I would do good by them for that. I really want to make up for last time.
That's beautiful. No,
hashtag book Goldie.
There you go.
Send it out, folks.
Beautiful.
Robert Downey Jr.
So Goldie, where can people connect with you? You're doing so much shit. What's like the place to go to? Twitter, obviously, but like you got a lot going. Plug everything because these guys, we have a very loyal Impact Wrestling following, and they love when we bring you guys on, and like we had the SATs on, and all of a sudden like they were like, holy shit, you guys blew up our numbers. We've been away for years, and like we came on your show and you guys are like got us back on the map a little bit. Not that you need us to get back in the mat.
No, honey, you're perfect. You're perfect.
Thank you. No, I'm just saying it's like we have a very loyal audience of Impact fans. So like you let them know where to go, they're gonna go and follow you. And do
you know what? Just Twitter and Instagram. It's Goldie with a Y, GOLDY rocks. Goldilocks rocks, and you can see everything that's going on. If there's a show that we're gonna be playing when we get back on the road, we'd love to have you come out. We'd love to give you the star treatment. Patreon/Goldilocks is it's funny, like the Patreon stuff never takes away from like other people. Like everybody's got their pocket, and Vince has his pocket, and Francine, and there's, you know what, I'm a big supporter of abundance, and there's enough for everybody, everything to go around, you know, like there's just all we do all day long is plug each other's stuff, and it's such a freaking joy to be a part of an organization that's not cutthroat. And like I said, Francine, she does stuff. I'm starting to do the cameos and all that. Like it's just a really fun environment, and props to you guys. Follow you. Make sure that anybody that's listening, like make sure that you retweet these guys' show and include each person in the tweet. Like take the time to put their handles in there. It's like it's free. It doesn't cost you anything. It'll make your dick bigger. Do it.
There you go. See, guys, you don't need your pills. You don't need a magic potion. Just fucking tag me, Bill, and J-Bone in your tweets, and your dick's going to grow overnight as a result. Goldie said it, so it must be true.
It's true.
That's awesome. Look, Goldie, real quick, when you guys are touring, you ever make it up to Chicago at all? You ever get
we do. We play everywhere in the whole world. I just can't wait to get back to playing. God, dude. Yeah, I mean, it's just, and it's, you know, what's really cool is when you can pre-plan it so that a lot of people come out and you make some sort of event, and then you do the live show, and then you go someplace afterwards, or we do photos, or there's just some gimmick attached to it. Like, or a lot of times at our shows in between or at the end of the night, I set up a couple of lights and a couple of cameras, and I do gimmicks for Goldie's Closet or for Patreon or for whatever. And it's really, really, really fun, because it just, the best thing that I could have ever learned at this point in my time is, and you know this about your band, is like, it's not really about me or the band anymore. It's about the people that come, and like, how can we include you? How can we create a great night for you? You know what I mean? What funny stuff can happen?
And what story can you leave with? You know, like you want to leave with a story. Everybody does. You go to an event,
memories.
Yeah, you want to leave with.
I have a story. I was on a catwalk in Valdosta, Georgia, performing, and I squatted down a little bit, you know, with the boy band squat, and I was singing tenderly to somebody or doing something, and all of a sudden, like this guy was like backing up, and all I saw was the back of his head, you know, long hair, thick, and I was like, what's, you know, backing up. I thought, I hope he doesn't hit his head. Well, anyway, the next thing I know is he grabbed my legs and bit through my vagina.
What?
The whole top of it, and I was bleeding out my vagina and needed to go get a tetanus shot and stitches in my vagina. It wasn't the back of his head. It was some creepy woman that looked like Cousin It, and then she shook her head, and her mouth came with these big teeth that only people in Valdosta, Georgia apparently had that night, and she bit through the top layer of my shit. So now if I ever go on a date and I'm waxed or ready to roll, people are like, what the hell is that? I'm like, oh, it's funny that you asked. Here, let me completely kill the mood of getting any punani and tell you the story about the night this woman bit my vagina. So yeah, there's your story.
That's a great one.
Is this part of the satanic story coming up here?
No, but I mean, I guess they were drunk and it looked good to them. And I mean, this chick drew blood. I have teeth marks permanently on my stuff.
The live chat is blowing up.
Rock and roll, baby.
That's fucking rock.
That is rock and roll.
I don't think Ozzy can even compare to that. Well, he has a story that.
Trent, I don't think you have a story like that.
I don't have a story like that. The most I've had is like you've been around enough egotistical metalhead headbangers that the most they get into is they just have ego issues over who's the cooler metal band that night.
Oh my God!
But I can never top somebody biting through my
junk.
My junk.
I have teeth marks. Like I have to explain that.
It wasn't a nice, wild, fun night. It was actually a nightmare.
How can that be? How can that even, like, that's not pleasurable? Right now, all three of you men, I want you to just imagine me just biting through so that you need to go to the hospital, get stitches and a tetanus shot. That wasn't hot at all.
No. There's Ozzy and the Bat story from 40 years ago, and now we've got this.
And I was playing in we were opening for Marilyn Manson. And I was in
dear Lord.
Biloxi. Wait, it gets better. We were in Biloxi, Mississippi, and like some stuff went down. That's another story for another podcast. But like, needless to say, I got food poisoning from backstage with him, and I was just vomiting everywhere. And I was just throwing up, and I couldn't keep anything down. And I was like, and I was crying. And I called my friend Pete Evick, who's in Bret Michaels' band. He's the guitarist for Bret Michaels' band. And I was like, Pete, you can't stop throwing up, and I gotta go pay. There's a bunch of people out there. What? Hey, Goldie, stop. Hey, Brett, Goldie's puking. Yeah, I'm like, no, it's not because quiet, shut the fuck. Now, let me tell you, you puke, it's rock and roll. Now go the fuck out there. And I was like, I was trying to like let him know like I wasn't puking because I like drank too much or like I had food poisoning. It didn't matter. Hey, Brett, yeah. You puke? Let's rock and roll. But get the fuck out there. Is that my mentor? Like,
wow.
There you go.
Doesn't matter if you puke on stage, Goldie. That's rock and roll.
That's rock and roll, man. Sells a couple extra records. Maybe we'll sell a t-shirt by doing that. Come on, get out there. Nice. Goldie. Amazing. That's awesome. Thank you so much. This was so
thanks
much
you
fun.
guys. I know we went over our time.
No,
really
we don't.
appreciate you. Appreciate you so much.
It's all love. We appreciate you coming on and sharing the stories, whether it's wrestling, rock and roll, and just, to share whatever you have to, like, we tried to get you on a few months ago and we knew you were just.
Did we really?
We talked a few,
we started the
back and forth. Yeah.
We started the dialogue, but you were just in the midst of starting to promote stuff. We were like, hey, you can come on and you can promote whatever you got going on.
Got it.
But look, life happened. The last few months have been absolutely insane for everyone. We're just happy we could get you on.
Oh, for sure.
Talk some old times, and then you can promote whatever you've got here because we know you've got a whole realm of things going on. So we're happy. It's all love.
Yes.
Thank you. If any of you guys, if you wouldn't mind, please just mentioning this show. And even the hashtag is just stay, and just go over to all to you on YouTube, that place, and just find it and leave a night. Again, you can tell me that I suck or bite my vagina or whatever you want to. I don't care. Just do something so that it bumps it up, and it helps Vince Russo's channel tremendously. And while you're at it, hit that like button and subscribe because that's all for Vince Russo. He produces some really, really great content, and as you can see by these three, truly, some great content creators.
Thank you, Gold. That's awesome. Listen, guys, support the cause. Go follow Goldie. It was a Goldilocks Rocks, right, Goldie? Goldilocks Rocks. Goldie with the Y.
Goldie Y. Don't go to the I. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I was at work and I had everybody gathered around. My real name is Moon. My birth name is Moon. Jesus Christ, Moon. I had everybody in the whole office. My dad was a cop. Jesus Christ. And we went to this Goldilocks site. I said, you went to the I. I told you. Don't go to the I. He's like, oh my God.
Is it porn?
Jesus Christ. It was back then. He's like, Jesus Christ, some blonde chick with spread eagle, and I'm my boss, and my super is standing, the police chief, and I was like, yeah, this is my kid. And I was like, for the love of God. And I was like, I told you, old man, listen next time. Don't go to the I.
That's awesome.
He was so pissed. He came home all hot about everything. He was like popping over the eye. I'm like, well, if you just listen,
If you would have listened to me, Dad, you would have got the directions.
Jesus Christ, Moon. This is spread eagle.
That's awesome.
The whole precinct is like, oh, this is my daughter. She's doing this. Oh,
my God. That's awesome.
So that's what your family does. All right.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, no, it's good stuff. You guys, thank you for everything. And I so appreciate all the tags. What lovely guys you are. And it was so nice to be around this much testosterone. It was good.
Hey, how about it? Just made your Thursday night, right? Cool. Thank you, Goldie.
Bye, we'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Thanks. Much love.
Much love to you. Bye.
The wonderful Goldilocks, everybody. Beautiful. God, what an honor that was, man. What an honor.
I haven't hey, I'm not gonna I'm a grown enough man to admit that woman made me blush a little, but that was
I'm sure she did, J-Bone.
I've never been referred to as Robert Downey Jr. I will I can't wait till I tell Mrs. J-Bone about this.
He's gonna have to up the compliment game now, man. Wow,
collect myself a little here.
I thought we were going to resize the screen after that comment.
No kidding. I adjusted a little. No, but guys, anybody who was late to the interview, I saw a couple people like, oh, they haven't talked wrestling yet. No, we talked about it, guys. We were all over it. If you were late, Goldie went on. We were on for an hour and 20 minutes, so we covered a lot of material. Everybody, a lot. That
was amazing.
Tremendous. I am so happy about that. And listen, it adds a little bit to it because Bill and I got to go to the asylum. Just kind of getting that little connection back to the asylum now is a real fun thing. So, very cool. Thank you, Bill, for setting that up with Goldie. Thank you, Goldilocks, for being on.
Yeah,
thank you. Yes.
And yeah, don't forget the follower and definitely check out our YouTube there with the all the you video, and it'll be in there. And
I'm going to put the link in. What is? I got to write this down. What is the name of the video again? Because I got the link.
All to you.
And her, I'll put her Twitter handle in
all TOU. YOU.
And this is her Twitter and Instagram, guys. Goldilocks rocks. So give her a follow. Let her know you're here. But you're TNI sent you.
Let her know where you saw her.
She'll be very happy to see that. I'll make her real happy. So definitely let her know you came from here. But definitely, what an honor! What an honor to have her on, man.
Yeah,
so, such a
original knockout.
Let's. I want to get that going, guys. I'm serious. You two also. I really want to push that because she truly is the original knockout. That's a fact. There's like I don't care. Look, I know Gail is our crown, is the queen of our knockouts. We get it. We know that. But honestly, the original knockout is Goldie, and then the second one is Trinity. No question about it. But Goldie's the first one who started the knockout tone in Impact Wrestling, a TNA Impact Wrestling. So let's put that out there, guys. I really, really want to make sure we push that aspect because she deserves that, guys. Right, Bill? I mean, like, I don't think she gets enough credit for it. She does not get enough credit for what she's done at all.
No. She if you haven't been watching with us during these weeklies, she does like the job she does with at least 5 interviews a show, usually more. It's something that you don't see nowadays in wrestling at all. And she was an innovator back then, and it's something that you really should go back and see. It's
yes. Very cool, guys. Very, very cool. All right. Well, we still got a review to do, so we're gonna try to go through it pretty steady because we definitely spent an hour with Goldie, so we don't want to keep you guys too crazy long here. But we'll clip that one out. I'm gonna have Kyle chop that separately as well, and maybe in a couple weeks we'll release the Goldilocks interview separately, and we'll clip it out. But again, the original knockout. Let's make sure that's a thing. I know you guys are our TNI listener base. You guys are loyal. You guys we'll blow up the Twitter. Let's blow it up with that. Tag her, tag Impact, tag Scott Demore, tag them all, tag us, and let them know that you want the original knockout, at least for one appearance, right, Bill? I mean, at least one time.
At least one appearance. With all the TNA nostalgia coming back, but I know you've been, and I'm sure we'll get over it as we go through this review. Mm-hmm. Like, why don't we get the call back to the Disciples of the New Church? Why don't the early Asylum, maybe not as much so as kind of that Spike TV era and on. TNA, and I get that. That was when they there was a peak there, but you got to look at where you started, and there's still plenty to recognize from back then.
100%.
It's almost like they had to stick around from that beginning through those other eras.
That's right.
As opposed to the ones that may not have made it through those other eras, but still should not be forgotten.
Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. Millard Harris is pissed. He's like, I thought that was the show. No, sir, we have a review to do. So, all
right. So, not to cut you off. The link is in the description. If you refresh, if you're coming in now, if you refresh what we're doing live right now, the link is freshly put in the description for Goldie's video. Okay. Nice. So for anybody coming in now and or listening, there it is. All right. You guys kick it off. I'll be right back.
There you go. Jay needs to breathe. He has to breathe.
I have to refresh myself.
Poor guy.
Well, he is Robert Downey Jr.
That's right. I mean, the poor guy. I mean, the guy got a compliment of a decade. I'm gonna pop him out so we can at least go that. So we at least make it look clean, Bill. You know what I'm saying? We gotta make it look clean.
Oh, we're clean. We're clean.
let's set up the show though. So we kick it off, guys. This is NWA TNA number 34. Took place on February 26, 2003. I was on Dave's couch watching it for $10. Bill, where were you on February 26, 2003?
February 26, 2003.
It was a Wednesday. I can tell you that.
It was definitely a Wednesday. Unless you were watching this, it's very tough to know. As we get later in the year, I actually have emails from back then.
Oh,
so I'm going to start knowing a better idea of what I was actually doing.
This is wonderful.
But that's usually most of these emails are from like I was in the process of changing jobs. So I have a lot of like different job correspondence back and forth during like job hunting and going into a new position. So that's why I have all that stuff back then. So I know a little bit better. But then, as I always like to say, it's probably in the having a lot of fun. I'm sure that's why like some of these I did watch live.
Okay.
So it could have been one of these ones. It may not have been. I may have been doing something else. Maybe not in my best interest. But it was fun at the time. And then I probably watch this later if I didn't watch it live.
All right, fair enough. Bill's getting wild too. We all think J-Bone and Kyle or Kalon are nut jobs. You know, Bill had his wild time too back in the day. It seems like that's what I'm hearing here. Reading between the lines, Bill. It seems like
not too wild. Like there was no incidents at
check rally, yeah.
But there was no incidents there.
Fair.
But
enough.
But we all got into our little. I was a spry. Let's see, man. That's you're talking what 18 years ago, right?
18 years ago, man. 20-year-old punk.
I was barely legal.
There you go.
I was like 20 years old.
Can only imagine, Bill.
Because you're right. I was.
All right. Well, let's kick it off here. We started off, and it was the return of Jason Cross taking on Kid Kash. Now, it's for the X-Division title, Bill, and this is Cross's return from a broken hand. Kash with Trinity. My question again, like I always say, I always bring up the logic here, and again, I get it. It was a great match. Let's not take that away. Why is Jason Cross getting the title shot? He just has returned.
Well, they tried to sell it. Don tries to sell it during the match, saying when David Young broke his hand, he had earned his way to this, and this was his reward for coming back. They made it act like he had already earned a shot at the belt before he got hurt.
Got it.
Is what we're. But once again, obviously there's a theme because they're going to find out later that they keep teasing. It's pretty much every week is being defended, so they're just looking for competitors right
looking
now.
for competitors.
So the reasoning some weeks will be more sound than others.
Yeah,
like the Paul London was pretty much he was the last guy in the match, so therefore he gets a title shot.
Like Jerry will take his later on. Yeah, Jerry will take his later on, but Paul London was the last guy, so he'll take his. It's like what are we doing here with the logic here? So Jay, we're just talking about the opening match and why did Jason Cross get a title match on his first match back? After a broken hand. It was like no logic to it. He just got a title match.
No, and I think it's more of the open challenge feel. I was thinking the same thing when I was watching this. I'm like, well, he's been gone for a while. He broke his hand. He came back. He still had some kind of like wrapping or splint or something on his hand.
Yeah.
But wow, and you could tell he was a little off. I don't think it was ring rust. I think it was just because you're in the ring. It's no matter how crazy or unspotty the match is when you do that style of wrestling, a la Kid Kash, a la Jerry Lynn, or anything from the X Division. It's your hand. It's sensitive, So it's you're gonna wince a little. You got to adjust on the fly, and you could see that visibly in this match. So it wasn't a 5-star match, but as good as both these guys are, they did what they could with it, and I thought it was pretty good.
I thought it was a great match.
For a guy with a broken hand, and you got to do everything with the grabbing and the flipping and the whatever. It's like, oh my god!
You guys noticed though, Bill? He got booed. Jason Cross took a real lashing from the crowd, though. They announced Jason Cross was like boo. Like fuck you.
Well, I think you're seeing a lot of momentum with Kid Kash and Trinity with that crowd right now. They're loving the Kid Kash right now.
Huge.
So it's like he's been impressing. He's got his moveset down, and it's a fickle crowd, that Asylum crowd. They can be with you, or they can turn on you on a dime.
That's true.
And it's like right now, Kid Kash is a flavor of the week for them.
True.
And honestly, Cross, since he wasn't there, they just said, "All right, I'm done with this guy. You're going against our guy now."
Kash wins with an amazing springboard hurricanrana swinging DDT combo, though. Awesome.
Yeah, great combo. Great combo.
I love Kid Kash.
Oh, that's priceless. Kid Kash is so good. I mean, I'm really because I know the nostalgia of ECW is great, and I've only seen bits and pieces, clips from the WWE or this and that. Yeah, and I'm watching these now, so I'm really like oh, Kid Kash. So I'm really paying attention, and I'm absolutely loving this content because like we saw tag team stuff in 2005 when I became a fan, but okay,
I'm just
Monty
Brown.
I'm just putting up.
Booker Bill's got his work coming out for him.
These comments, guys. I'm 2 energy drinks, all hopped up. Was ready for Goldie, and she blew my mind. She made me blush. Not so many people make me blush. She made me blush, and
turn red. Look at that. Look at that. Unbelievable.
Almost as red as the screen. Yeah. So yeah, just again, thanks, Goldie. But just an amazing. Had no clue how real that was going to get, and I don't know if it gets any more real than that, and or uncensored, and that's fine. Not complaining. It was amazing. But yeah, this match was great.
That's very cool.
Our boy Kyle, he missed out on that one.
He did. He had a good back and forth for sure. You guys in the chat were all talking. Now, and I want to apologize, everybody in the chat. I wasn't putting the comments
sorry.
up.
Yeah,
there was a lot of comments going. I just wanted to focus on Goldie, let her talk. I didn't want her to get thrown off because she's great at she's just a conversation flow. So I didn't want to throw her off on her game. She was in the zone. So I apologize, but definitely I'm going to relay this video to her so she can check it out at a later time, so she can at least get some of those questions. So, and guys, give her a follow. She is very open to. She wants you guys to connect with her. So give her a follow.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Absolutely. No, this was cool. We got a little recap after this, guys. Well, actually, no, we got a Goldie in the back with trying to get some answers over here. She's with Jarrett.
She's looking for answers. She got
all
a little
night.
All night. This is like one of those running segments, and we start off. It's like. What happened at the house with Russo?
Yes.
No comment. No comment. Our first one's a no comment. It's the blow off. Come on, Jeff.
Speaking of Russo, he comes out now wearing Dustin Rhodes' natural jacket, which is the
natural jacket. Yeah, it's a WCW jacket.
It was the one. I'm curious how he got it. Dusty brought it.
Maybe Dusty had it. I gotta imagine Dusty had it. Although he did say in his promo that it was given to him by Dustin Rhodes.
It was a gift because they're family.
And they are friends, though. Dustin and Vince are friends. I mean, they do have a connection. I mean, Vince did create Goldust. There's no question about it. We all know that's a fact. Let's not even try to mince that one.
So maybe he's like, you know what? You got me a character over here. Take this.
Could be. He comes out.
Stranger things have happened.
Yep. He comes out. He says, tonight's all about friends and family. Talks about going to Jeff Jarrett's home, hanging with the family. Uncle Vince chants.
Uncle Vince. Uncle Vince.
Uncle Vince. They actually got him for that. He actually got it. You notice he actually was like, oh,
Uncle Vince. Uncle Vince.
He liked it. Says that him and Jeff, they settled everything. Everything's good. The crowd's hot right here. The crowd is fired up. Jarrett's joining at Sports Entertainment Extremes. They're going to sign a contract later. Now, AJ interrupts here, guys. He calls Russo a Yankee bastard, which I like.
Yankee bastard.
You guys, I'm telling you, I don't know, Bill, you've been to the South enough times, but I tell you, they still got something against you Yankees up there, man.
Oh, yeah. When I was in college, I did my minor was like in American history. So I did some travel study for like a Civil War class. So we went down south. And any of our listeners that are from the South, obviously, and this is obviously big story now, politics and all that. The Civil War is regarded as the war of northern aggression in the South.
Look at that.
That's what they call it.
That's what they call it.
Northern aggressor. Like that's so that whole Yankee reference. Like there's truth in what he's saying there. Like that's definitely the stance of big pockets of the South.
There is definitely a bias. Let's not mince words.
Oh yeah, I got a cousin's a newly married cousin's husband referred to me as a Yankee, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
That's not a term of endearment.
Yeah, like, we're still doing this, huh, guys?
That's not a Robert Downey Jr.
No, it's not. J-Bone is still blushing, guys. I thought it was the tint on his camera, but no, he is redder than a fucking tomato. Look at this guy. But he basically, AJ comes in, he goes, look, it's time for a change. I got screwed in my match, but he realized that he needs to get what Russo gave to Jarrett, which is that blackened heart, that ice cold heart. That's like, hey, to just not give a shit and just fight on. He said, you can help me get that. I'll sign out Sports Entertainment Extreme. Crowd, Bill, relays into him here. They're like, I can't believe, they basically couldn't believe he's turning now. They're like, fuck.
Well, at first there was AJ Chance coming out after last week. Like we said,
that's our boy.
Yeah, they should have moved the belt last week. We all, I think, agreed. But they didn't, and the crowd was still eating it up, AJ. But then I think Vince knew this was going to happen, and he's like, I got to turn AJ right now, because if not, this crowd's going to eat me alive.
True.
So it's like, so now AJ's got to come to the dark side, and that's what we get here. That's what we get is give me the paper, give me the pen, give me the pen.
That's it.
So
yeah, give me the pen, give me the contract, and I was like,
yeah, give me the.
Yep. Raven interrupts though.
Yeah, we got a visitor.
Raven interrupts. He runs down AJ, says he can't hang. He's like, you'd never cut it. You know?
What about Raven?
Yeah, what about me? What about Raven? We get the classic. What about me? What about Raven? So he makes the match. AJ and Russo makes the match. AJ and Sandman, the Raven versus the next. He said the next competitor. He didn't say who it was, right?
Right now we just know it's someone in the X division, the next competitor. We do get a great Raven line here. He quotes Voltaire.
He
goes,
say it.
Self-delusion is the key to happiness.
So good. Quoting Voltaire. Now, I like a good Voltaire line. And I thought that was a fantastic line. And then
AJ, in his corny promo youth, has to follow it with, well, maybe it's Raveline.
Yeah,
which got nothing from the crowd. Yeah. You don't get a Maybelline reference in that crowd.
He's like, maybe it's Rave, maybe it's Raveline, and dead like crickets. You know, and I'm like, oh shit.
I popped for it. I thought it was hilarious. That's one of the notes I wrote down. I'm like, Raveline. How do you spell that? Raveline. Never mind. Raveline.
I would have to give him the sympathy pop. I would have been like,
oh man. We got a little quote from Terrence over here. He's saying, Bill, not for Black Southerners, we call it the Civil War. Just keeping it 100. There you go, man.
Oh, I don't disagree. That's why I did not. I just said this is what some say down there.
This guy's great. Look at this. Just stop by to say ball sack, poo poo, caca, shitty nuts. That's great. You keep doing that, pal. Keep doing that. I like that. That's the kind of trolling I like. Just stop in and say poo poo, caca, shitty nuts. Awesome.
Yeah. Where was your heroin filled ass when Goldie was here? I would have loved to heard her response to that.
That's awesome. No, listen, that was but no, this was good. So they set that up. That's going to be your next. So you got the little setup for later, and but it didn't end there. So they set that matchup, and then AMW interrupts, and they want
we're getting everybody in this segment here.
Everybody.
AMW comes out. They're talking about. We're still waiting.
Are they joining S.E.X?
We're still waiting for their title shot. Dude, right now, we just have these Jerry Lynn, AMW, these title shots. They're going to happen at some point and then Vince's like, well, you got 30 days. That's the first time we heard a time frame.
Mm-hmm.
So they got 30 days to make this match happen. But that's not it. We're not done. We got somebody else coming out.
We're not done. So they come out. I do like the line. It's either we get our match or it's Russo's ass. Is what?
Yes. I'll say this. There's a lot of ass references in this episode.
Lots of ass. I think Story even gives us sorry about your damn luck over here too, which is interesting.
Oh, we do get a story. Yeah, we get that.
We get that. Now it's not the first time because Jay and I watched the episode where he first debuted the line.
It was a few weeks ago. Yeah.
I want to say it was in the teens, like episode 13 or 14.
Yeah.
And so that was where he first debuted the line. So this is where you're getting the inception era of that line, that classic James.
Yeah. Now it's a callback line, and now it's becoming the catchphrase. Oh, yeah.
So on top of then he gives the sorry line. Then the Hot Shots the Hot Shots come back and attack.
The Hot Shots.
Cassidy O'Reilly and Chase Stevens, who Goldie mentioned several times.
Chase Stevens.
Still who made his return into Impact.
Made his return. He was he was at the last tapings I was at in Atlanta. He was on that TNA show.
Did you get to meet him at all for a meet and greet or no?
I did not get to meet him. No, he was not part of the meet and greet.
Gotcha. Would have been nice. Would have been nice to say hello to him.
Because you're right. Because that's from. But then he's been doing some other stuff with him, so I wouldn't be surprised if he.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He did Vegas.
Vegas. Like he's been making his way through.
I can imagine he'd be kicking around here and there. So the Hot Shots are now at Sports Entertainment Extreme. So they're wearing T-shirts. We got that little feud set up. AMW and them. Basically, it's going to happen later on tonight. Goldilocks in the back. Our pal. Now I can say our pal Goldilocks. Our pal Goldilocks in the back with Dusty and Vader. And does she think Jeff Jarrett? Or she's asking Dusty? Do you think Jeff Jarrett joined Russo? And he gives him his opinion on it. He doesn't think so though, but he's I think I didn't write down specifics in this one, Bill. If you got any specifics that Dusty said here,
pretty much Dusty says he's like, Goldie baby, Jerry, he's now with S.E.X. He stole that jacket. He stole that jacket. And then Goldie being physically uncomfortable there because like Vader's kind of like squeezing her in.
Oh yeah.
And then Vader, she's doing a good job with the mic, kind of going like this. And then he's like, and then Vader has to cut his Vader time promo. But
it's Vader time. Yep.
So right now, Dusty's not buying it. Dusty's definitely not buying it.
Not buying it. Dusty knows. He's been around long enough. Dusty knows he's not buying it.
Yeah, the TNA World Champion. He ain't doing something like that.
That's right. That's right. Very hype the match, basically. A little hype for the match. Now, next match is Simon Diamond and Johnny Swinger taking on the New Church. Now, we had a little twittering with this one. Now, I pointed out initially, I took a screen grab and I pointed out that they were selling this like Swinger's debut, and I was like, oh shit, but he's been on before. I'm like, there's no way this is his debut. He's been on before for sure. I thought at least. Oh, I thought, but I'm like, I look at Wikipedia, and they have his debut listed as July of 03. Yeah. So I made a tweet out. I said, no, it looks like I get corrected. I'm like, I could have sworn he'd been on. I put it out there. We get one of our listeners. What is his Twitter handle, Bill? You know it offhand? One of our listeners in Germany. He's in Germany now.
Yes. He is.
And he puts it. So he wasn't correct. As any Wikipedia editors out there, he corrects the date. But then Bill looks into it and says, no, he actually debuted on episode, what is it, 6, Bill? Like early episode.
16.
16.
Is it 16 or 6?
It just wasn't with Simon Diamond. This is the first time the tag team debuts, I believe.
Yeah. But not John. But on Wikipedia, they had him debuting on like July of this year.
Yeah, Wikipedia was wrong. It's a fella SGE.
Fella, who's from Germany. He edited it. So hopefully when Fella wakes up in the morning, he can edit the second date now that we figured out. So we'll clean up a little Wikipedia.
We got the debut date. I put a screen grab of the that initial entrance of our boy the Swingman.
I'm glad you did it. I'm glad you put that out. Goldilocks just gave us a follow, gentlemen, on the TNI. That was very nice of her.
Thanks, Goldie.
But no, listen. So did we clean that up? So Swinger looking young, man, looking great. Our boy, the Swing Man, a friend of the show, Johnny Swinger, looking awesome. With Simon, I'm a big Simon Diamond guy. I loved Simon and Swinger guys. Like Simon's got a problem. I pop for that shit constantly. Bill, you were there in ECW. I'm sure you love that shit too.
Oh yeah, and we'll get to it later as a small promo, but I'm always gonna pop for that ECW nostalgia.
Yeah,
and it's but Johnny Swinger is more than ECW because like he was there near the end of ECW, and I give credit to those guys that were there at the end.
Yeah,
there was only a few originals like the Sandman that were there at the end. He was more that next wave that ended it with like Corino, who we recently saw. But obviously, we're seeing the birth of Johnny Swinger, like that late ECW during here.
Yep.
And it's an amazing ride to see this guy 20 years ago when he was doing his ECW to his TNA to where we see him now again in Impact. It's
what a ride.
It's really a joy to see it, like the reinvention. the reinvention of an old school character. It's fantastic.
The guy's a national treasure in wrestling. I'm telling you. But they go against the new church and J-Bone. You catch this, the new church getting that face pop. They're pandering to the crowd.
Yeah, we saw
evil. And I was like, wow. Don West and TNA still can't believe it. It's hilarious.
This is why, guys, I pushed so hard for this. Why the new church isn't recognized more. They were over. I mean, they are a very pivotal team in TNA history, and they get no love at all today. Like the other guys, they'll show AMW stuff. They'll even show natural stuff sometimes, but they won't even show the new church, and it kills me. And I know I found Wolfie D, Slash. It was Wolfie D and PG-13. I found him on Twitter. He's not really active though.
Okay.
Ryan Lee's just, I don't know what he's working the day job. I don't know where he is now. But guys, we got to make it a point. We got to find these guys. Like we got to get these guys some buzz. You know what I mean? Like Jim Mitchell surrounds. I'm sure Jim, he's taggable. He checks his stuff. He can get some word out. I just would love some shine on the new church because Jay, this match proved it, man. They were fucking over. Like this is one of the most important tag teams in Impact history. No question, right?
Yeah.
Awesome match. It was great back and forth. Johnny took some great bumps in this one. By the way.
Oh yeah, Johnny stood out, man. He stood out in this match. He was coming for a contract. That's what Johnny Swinger was coming for.
Dude, to this day he can go. I'm serious. Like the guy is a great worker, man. What are you gonna say, Jay?
I was just gonna say, watching this match, and I saw some of the same wrestling in-ring work that we see in Impact Wrestling now today when he's working at old school type wrestling match. And I was like, oh yeah, and there he is. He's holding the guy on the rope, and there's Slash hanging over the rope, bleeding and whatever. I was like, oh my god, yeah, Swinger still uses that old, yeah.
He's so good. He's just so good at what he does. And Simon's no slouch either. I love Simon's a great kind of like the shit talker, the shithole guy who runs away from the bumps and stuff. So he's great with that. But
they got that East Coast swagger coming out from they're from New York, and they're like,
they're New York.
Right, we're here to fuck someone off,
Yeah. There was a pretty quick back and forth. Lee hit Simon with the spike.
Yeah.
Give him the hangman's
not a very face move there.
No. But it's like everybody embraced it though. They're like, cool. They're cool, like it's fine. So they put up with it. Again, back to our friend Goldie after that. She's looking for Jeff Jarrett for answers. Jarrett gives her some answers this time. He goes, it's time for a change.
Yeah.
I'm friends with Russo. I've known him for years. And he goes, I think it's time to show my true colors. And he shows the Sports Entertainment Extreme t-shirt. Now, which by the way, in the chat, anybody have that shirt? I would love, that's one shirt I never got. And I think I never got
that thing. That thing's tough, man. That thing. The thing is, you never really even saw him in the crowd, so I don't even know if they just made him for the talent. Because I never really remember seeing them anywhere.
I remember seeing.
I saw Triple X shirts during that time, but I don't remember seeing Sports Entertainment Extreme. Was that too risque for them? Even
it might have been. I remember seeing it at a guy wearing it at an indie one time. I do remember whether he got it from somewhere is the other thing. I know. I think they sold them in a very small batch, and I could see something where like initially Russo's like, well, why do we sell it? We're kind of invading here. We shouldn't be selling a T-shirt, and it wouldn't really make sense. Which I can appreciate. It's like committing to the character, And so I think they sold them later, and never like mainstream on the website, that kind of thing. So I could see, but he had the shirt on. So Jared definitely was wearing one. So they definitely had him for sure somewhere.
Oh yeah.
They're probably sitting in the warehouse, Brown.
Yeah, it might be. Who knows? It might be a Skyway right now.
So this is okay. My favorite part of this wasn't Jarrett doing that, but he says he's got a videotape. He's going to expose everything at the end of the night. My favorite part of it wasn't that, guys. My favorite part of it is when they go back to TNA and West.
Yeah.
You catch this, Bill? TNA's reaction.
Yeah, TNA's in shock. He can't even speak at first.
If you guys are watching a video, look at J-Bone. That's what he was doing. He was
he's like
shocked.
And then he's like, Russo must have brainwashed him.
Yeah. There's the thing that you're not supposed to have any dead air. There's a good between 5 to 10 seconds of them just looking like they just got hit with the freaking baseball bat with barbed wire around it.
It was so. I mean, I'm like, but again, I go to that and I'm like, we don't get that in today's wrestling.
No,
it's so.
But I will give them credit because they do a callback to last week later during one of the matches. I don't think it's this match; might be the next one.
Okay,
and they're talking about because they went off on when they thought AJ joined him after that promo to start last week's show.
Right,
and TNA's killing AJ.
Oh,
it's like you turned your back on us. I can't believe you. And so he like went like crazy. So now it's like, he can't do that same spot again of just killing Jarrett now. So he's brainwashed.
He's brainwashed. No,
brainwashed. Yeah.
TNA is such an artist. I'm serious, guys. Like, and I'm not trying to dog Josh Matthews, but please, Josh, study some TNA. I mean, just for the sake of like your industry, like the guy. I want Josh Matthews to sell certain stories like that because that reaction got me so invested. And this is 20 fucking years ago. And I was sold on TNA. I was like, holy fuck, what happened? What's on that tape? That's all I could think. I was like, what's on that goddamn tape? Like I was so in. And it's like, geez, man, like that is great storytelling. Mike TNA is just such a fucking artist.
I'm just laughing at it. It's like, wait, you could say that TNA was just like astonished that Jeff Jarrett was holding a VHS tape.
I couldn't believe it.
What's a VHS tape? Oh yeah,
like a VHS. Like what year is this?
The kids are watching. What is this VHS you speak of?
Yeah, I got the tape.
Awesome. I mean, we were going to DVDs around this point, so tapes are still there. I was recording.
You get that DVD recorder. Whew, that was big money back then.
I mean, me and my buddy Dave were recording all these shows on a VHS, which he still has.
That's right.
And he's offered to give them to me. He's like, dude, do you want all the VHS? And I'm like, I got them all on DVD. So like, I don't need the VHS. I also got Impact Plus now.
The fact that he still has that, I mean, that really says something. That's hilarious. I think
I still have my VHS recordings of ECW from local TV.
I got 300-400 wrestling tapes at my parents' house still. Like it's a lot of rare shit. I don't want to throw it away, I got converted eventually. But no, Dave still got him. He's not tossing them. He's like, I can't remember myself.
Good job, Dave. Good job.
I got to get Dave on here one of these days. I mean, we went to all these shows.
Yeah, he was watching all these shows.
He was watching all of them. I did mention it to him the early time we started. So he was down to come on, but man, he was right there with me at all the indies. I mean, it was like, he'd be great on here for sure. But no, so we go from that, guys, to a very interesting. TNA sit down with Sanders and Disco, and they basically are having the argument of sports entertainment versus traditional wrestling, the wrestling bubble. The interesting thing is for anybody who listens to the Russo shows now with Disco's on, like the Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Disco, or what's the other Disco show he's got? That totally slipped my mind. But anyway, like Disco shows, even on Keep It at 100. Disco talks about this to this day. He talks about these things today, about how you're attracting the casual wrestling fan via entertainment as opposed to the traditional. I want to watch a match. He's basically targeting the hanger at Mike TNA, like you're that fan. I'm here to bring entertainment.
You're the wrestling fan.
It's the same argument today. That's what blew my mind about this, J-Bone.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
It's incredible. 18 years ago.
It's crazy just to see kind of those numbers because obviously we know it was at that peak during the Attitude Era, and they're going over like 11 million viewers watching on a Monday night, and then at this time there's 5 million watching on a Monday night. So that's what they're comparing it to.
Barely 2.
And now we see what's going on today, and the pittance of that's being fought over. I think that this tells you really. Is there? Disco was right.
He was right.
Today is not right in this conversation.
Yeah.
It may have taken 20 years, but I think we know the answer.
Absolutely, man.
There's a group that loves the wrestling, but it's not at that number.
Yes, that's the thing. It's not that number. you got, and what he's saying is you got to write for the casual fan. And I was having this argument today with a couple of guys, with Basil and referee Nate about like they're talking about Eddie Kingston showing up last night on TV, and we were having this conversation: is Kingston going to draw the casual viewer versus the hardcore indie fan? And we were going back and forth on it. So, and I'm not going to delve into that.
I have my answer on that.
I do too. We'll take it off air. I don't want to get into it here, but I was like, it's the same argument though. It's the same argument about what's going to draw the casual channel flipper, like my dad, as who doesn't care, but what's going to make my dad stop and go, wow, what's that? That's what I'm saying. Like Brian Cage made my dad stop the channel. He's like, well, that guy's fucking jacked. Like that guy's huge. Like my dad doesn't care less about stuff. That made him stop. So what makes somebody
that's the one thing. You might not like a lot of what Vince McMahon does, but he realizes what catches people's attention.
Absolutely. The aesthetic. What are you gonna say, Jay? Sorry.
I got a comment on this. That's why I had it up on the screen.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. We're talking about Josh being in Impact Wrestling and comparing him to stuff. A few years ago, when he first came into Impact Wrestling, I always compared him to an early Vince McMahon. So this what this statement here says: Josh came up under WWE, kind of like Michael Cole. I wish he did study Tony Schiavone. I always thought that Josh sounded like Vince McMahon back before the Attitude Era, where he was all, "Oh my God, did you see that?" If you listen back to early Josh a handful of years ago in Impact Wrestling, it's identical to early Vince McMahon. It's hilarious on commentary.
Yeah, that kind of like that falsetto. Like, oh my God, it's deafening in here. I can't hear anything.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. Great point. Really good call out there. So that was interesting. So, but that was it's a very. I clipped this one out too. Actually, I clipped it out and put it on our Twitter at We Talk Impact, and I tagged this. I think I put this one on my personal. I don't want the controversial topic to be hit on the show. I put on my personal. I tagged Disco in it. So I know some of you guys saw it in the chat. Some of you guys did see this. It's a very interesting clip. I was very fascinated just because it's still talked about to this day.
Yeah,
the same argument is being had, and that's fascinating to me, man. So check that out, guys. On this episode, it's very much worth a watch for sure. I do like at the end of it though, Bill. You probably caught this.
Oh yeah, this is great. The end of it was
go ahead.
All right, so today, who's obviously fed up on a lot of what's going on because he's wrestling, he throws the David Arquette jab at them because the whole thing's like, who have you made? Like what talent have you discovered? And then it's like, well, David Arquette is, and then right as they're going off, it's like just as good as a wig on Kurt Angle.
That's hilarious. And I was like, wait, wig on Kurt Angle? Is that when they shaved his head? Is that the time frame we're at here? And I was like, holy shit, it is.
And then he said something about masks. He's like, you should be wearing a mask. Like,
you should be wearing a mask.
He's like, when you see guys walking wearing lucha masks, he's like, you should be wearing a mask today.
What do you want, Mr. Wrestling 3? What do you want, Mr.
Oh man, that was good. AMW versus the Hot Shots for next. Hot Shots look good. Pretty standard match. Sanders.
Oh my God, I popped for this.
What do you got? Go ahead.
Like, just like if you just take like all the. It's these guys versus this guys as far as like the bigger picture, like S.E.X versus Classic, what they're fighting for, the traditional NWA. Just these two teams on paper, Classic, TNA. I popped. I was like, the Hot Shots are back. And they're working for S.E.X.
Two young teams at the time.
And now they're facing AMW. The whipped cream on top of the sundae. Thank you.
My God.
Take my money.
My God, J-Bone. My God. No, it's true, though. They were two of the young, hot teams at the time. This was a telling match of what was going on in tag team wrestling. They were the only company really pushing tag team wrestling at the time, too. So
yeah, a lot of tag team wrestling.
Lot. Good match. This Sanders and Disco interfere, but AMW still gets the win on this one. And Hot Shots do get yelled at about it later on.
They do.
Our pal Goldie's in the back with Siaki, the ace in the hole, which he says
ace in the hole
8,000 times during this. Ace in the hole, son Siaki. Ace in the hole. He talks down to the Harris boys. He calls like Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
No one respects him.
The balls on Siaki.
Oh.
To talk down to the the Harris brothers are like, up here. But, hey, Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
That's becoming a trend in the sex locker room.
Oh,
the Harris boys.
God.
Man.
I mean, I'm waiting for someone to get, flushed down the toilet, legs wrapped
Speaking of
around his
flushing down the
neck.
toilet, that's where Raven's hanging out.
Yeah. Talk about it. Go ahead. You set it up.
Well, Sonny's looking. He's like, Raven. Where's Raven? Where's Raven? And then all of a sudden, over to the stall, Raven pops out.
out of the shitter.
Out of the shitter.
What was he doing?
And then he just kind of walks out the locker room. And then it's like, he's not going to wash his hands?
Yeah. Not going to wash his hands. Not like a straight shot. He's like, hey, Snow over here talking. He's like, whatever. And just walks away.
He just blows him off.
And he's like, he's not going to wash his hands? So he goes out. Raven's up there. And they got Julio Dinero debuting on this. Julio Dinero. And I was like, well, didn't he? I thought he debuted before too, but I was wrong. I guess. Julio Dinero comes out here. I look him up now on Wiki. They got his debut date wrong. They got his debut date down.
A lot of debut dates wrong. It looks like the Wikipedia. I hate to say, that's some fake wrestling news.
Fake wrestling. Yeah, let's play it. We don't play things on the thing here, on the throwback here, but I think fake wrestling news needs to be put up. There's so many things in here. Let's see here. It is right about here.
Longing for that fake wrestling news. Don't believe anything that you read on the internet.
I had no, that was so they had his debut date wrong. Because I look and it's like they have him debuting later on with Raven's Flock later on when it's CM Punk's there and all that,
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so you're talking another year from now.
No, about half a year. Half a year is what they
Half a
had it
year
down
from
as. But I'm like, they have that date wrong too. So any Wikipedia editors out there, go change Julio Dinero's wiki to show.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of NW-TNA issues.
A lot of wrong stuff out there. Oh, if we can correct it one by one, that's good. So pretty standard match, like nothing too crazy. AJ interferes, knocks Julio off the top rope. Raven even flow DDT gets the win. Pretty quick. It was only a few minutes.
Well, yeah,
something to tease. Go ahead.
That's the weird thing here. People start scratching their heads. Why did AJ help Raven? It's like, wait a minute. They had this big beef in the beginning. It's like, no, you guys are supposed to be, fighting on the same team, but the egos,
Yeah.
But then AJ comes down and helps them. It's like, wait, I thought you were mad at him, but maybe not. What the hell's going on around here?
Yeah, that's what I would think. But then Don West is telling me it's to impress the bro, Uncle Vince.
The Gathering.
So they're trying. The Gathering. But yeah, it's because I always feel like he doesn't know what to say. So he's like, to impress Vince Russo. That's why he did it.
Because it's all about Vince Russo.
Yes, that's right.
I want to point somebody earlier in the chat today when Goldie was on, point out today's actually Sonny Siaki's birthday. So
Happy birthday to Sonny Siaki.
Happy birthday to Sonny Siaki. We got to find a way to get, like, even Goldie saying he's impossible to get a hold of. Like,
that's what it sounds like, yeah.
And then Elix doesn't want to do anything. He's Elix's son was murdered. That's what happened to Elix. Yeah. It's a very sad deal. Elix Skipper's son got killed. Real bad deal. So yeah, I guess he's probably not feeling it. Only happened like a year and a half ago. Siaki is just impossible to find. I hope Goldie.
Like a lot of people. You're right, because like it's like an error of like the guys, like they're not real social media guys. So there's just a lot of disconnect between that group. If they didn't really stay in the business for a length of time to get into that, they're really. You might find them on Facebook, maybe. I don't know. That might be the best shot.
That's probably your only shot.
But going on these dates you just said, like that is Sonny Siaki's birthday. Mm-hmm. When we looked at that date for that first Johnny Swinger appearance, that was actually July 24th, 2002, which is now today. So that's 18-year anniversary of Johnny Swinger's TNA debut.
Wow.
Happy anniversary to the Swing Man.
Swing Man, that's awesome, man. Very cool. Very nice little factoids. We got to put these out there more and more, man. That's great. That is really cool. We go to the back with our pal Goldie again with Conan now. This is that promo we brought up to her.
Every time you mention her name now, I'm gonna get a little red in the face.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. I can't wait to talk about this one offline, Jay. But so Conan's in there. He's talking about the whole same on the conquest that the X-Division stole from Lucha Libre, and he's brought in one of the legends to shut Jerry Lynn down. Juventud Guerrera is out there. Juvi's out there, and he's going to make his debut for TNA.
I popped for this big time. In fact, I had to, speaking of Wikipedia, I had to Wikipedia this. I was like, wait a minute. Is this before or after the whole Mexicools thing in WWE? So he was with TNA for a few. This was his debut. He was there for between 2 to 3 years at this point, and then he went to WWE with Super Crazy and Psychosis, and did the Mexicools gimmick. So I had to just double check my timeline here. But this
is former WCW Cruiserweight Champion Juventud.
Yes, and this is. I read a line that read something to the effect of, he did a lot of stuff with Rey Mysterio back in WCW, and right at this time, Rey went this way to WWE. Juvi went the other way. Very interesting.
There you go. Another birthday connection. Mike Sanders has the same birthday as Hakeem Fullerton, our very own Hakeem. Very nice.
There you go.
Keep busting those facts out, boys. That's great. I like it.
Hey!
This ends with that
was a Mike Sanders. Hey, you're supposed to pop for that.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry. Continue.
Conan gives the Arriba la Raza line at the end, and as they walk away, Juvi just slaps Goldie's ass.
Come on, Juice.
Which she didn't see. She says, "I didn't know it was happening."
No, you could tell it was unscripted.
And then she goes off on him in Spanish, calls him to go fuck his mother, and this and that. It was like in her own words tonight. She just told us, I told him to go fuck his mother and stuff. Interesting. Like she busted that out quick.
She wasn't intimidated, Goldie.
Not at all. She's a tough chick, man. I'm not just saying that because we just had her on. She's a tough chick, man. Goldie's there. So we go to the match now. Juvi with Conan taking on Jerry Lynn. Again, good.
Yeah, because now I think you're just going to hit on it. But to me, and you watched it originally, it seemed like it was overdubbed, Juvi's music to me. Because there was no crowd sound at all.
I didn't catch that. Because it was the same music. It was like the Hey with a Latin guy. Let's use this music again.
That's why I wonder, like, when these were going on, now that we look back, it's like they used that same song 5 times for 5 different guys. Maybe they didn't. But maybe there's some copyright issues later. Because like the difference between, because I made sure to listen to the next entrance, and I heard a crowd with that song, but I heard nothing on this one. I just heard.
That's a good point, because I thought through the whole thing was, I'm like, how come he's not getting such a big pop? It's Juventud.
There was nothing.
And I'm like, you're right though. Now I'm thinking about it. Maybe they overdubbed it. Now I have the original airing on a burned disc. I'd be curious if I have some time to just pop. Like, I'm going to use this one as an example. Let's remind me about this one, number 34. I'm going to check this one out. This will be our one we test with. If this one's overdubbed, then we know a lot of the other ones are overdubbed too. Then this will be a good one to test it out with, because I have the original airing, and if mine doesn't have the original airing, I'm sure as how Dave's VHS has the original airing. That's for sure. So one way or another, we're going to find out. This was a great match. This was very it's Jerry Lynn, man. Yeah, Juventud Guerrera. You cannot.
This is
can't go
wrong. City.
Can't go wrong at all on these two guys. Jay, I know you're a Jerry Lynn guy. He's from not quite your neck of the woods, but in that direction.
From Goldie's neck of the woods.
Yeah, Goldie's neck. He's a Minneapolis guy. And he lives in Nashville now too, where she's at, I believe. So it's good stuff. Real good match. Conan's pissed off though, Jay. He's got your look going on with the bandana. And he's very pissed off about this.
Oh no! See, no, this is Conan right here. This is.
There you go.
There it is. Backwards bandana. He had it flapping down actually too, which is he had a whole different thing going on. There it is. Wear that for the rest of the show. Every time Conan comes up, I want you to flip your bandana around.
He's like Cody Deaner, but with a bandana.
There you go. Goldie in the back with Siaki. She's looking for Russo. She wants to talk. I want to answer. She wants Russo. Now, interesting visitor here, Bill. Interesting visitor comes up to Siaki here.
Who we saw briefly last week with Vince.
Mm-hmm.
We had the old Mason Plumtree.
Mortimer Plumtree.
Mortimer, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the basketball player.
I didn't know he was a Mason. Is that why things went south? He was a Mason. That's why things went south.
Could be. Another Minneapolis guy, Mortimer Plumtree. He comes up there, and he wants to talk to. He's like, I really talk to Vince, and Siaki's like, don't call us, we'll call you, and he shoves them out of the screen. I do like that. I like these shove out of frame. That's like I'm a big sucker for shoving or just like doing things out of frame. That was awesome. Don't call us, we'll call you. Just out of there.
What was Vince taking care of? Was he getting ice cream? What was he doing for the party?
Party favors.
Party favors. Yeah.
All right.
Because we saw him later on at the end.
For the big contract.
Get some favors. All right.
Get some favors. You know,
make it look nice. The homecoming. He was probably getting some a bit of the bubbly, as they say now.
That's what the kids are saying nowadays. AJ Styles and Sandman over here.
AJ and Sandman.
Now Sandman, again, talk about things that wouldn't fly today with the way today people are.
Him and Lollipop. Oh
Holy
boy!
Shit! What he did? He gets in the cage, starts grinding on Lollipop, and just starts making out with her and just full on ass grabbing. I don't think she saw that coming. I'm gonna go with that. She looked fucking shocked and petrified for the first minute of that. Like she's like, the fuck just happened?
and then Don plays it off as a smooch, a swig, and a smoke.
I didn't catch that. That's good.
I wrote that. Thank you, Bill. I wrote that down. And you know what? If we got to make that number 4 T-shirt for Kyle.
A smooch, a swig, and a smoke.
I like that.
A cartoon, like
I like it.
Caricature of Kyle, and next to it, so he looks kind of like the Sandman, because he's kind of like a young Sandman right now. He's a scumbag. So you put
Tyler Fullerton, pretty much.
He looks like a kid. Yeah.
The smooch. He does a little smooching here and there. We hear these little things.
Yeah.
The swig.
He's not striking out.
Mm-hmm.
We won't completely kill him on here. The
That was
swig.
self-admitted.
He we see him partaking in a little bit of the swiggery here, and the smoke. So there you go.
All right.
It's good. Kyle.
It is
it's
Kyle.
Sandman.
It is
That's
Kyle.
our number 4 T-shirt, baby.
All right. Design it tomorrow. I want it tomorrow. I want it tomorrow, Jay. He does the whole beer entrance. He gets in there.
This is almost like the close to the incarnation of what he still does to this day, where he's pouring it in everyone's mouth.
Right.
Because usually it was just him kind of drinking it and smashing it. Now he's pouring it in multiple fans' mouths.
There was one lady who had nothing to do with it, though. She was like, "Get the fuck away from me!"
She pushes it. He hands it to her, and
she's like, "I don't want this shit." And
it's the anti. Excuse me. It's the anti-Sandman section. It says no smoking all the time.
And that's where he goes.
So he shoves it in all their faces, and she takes it and just like dumps it on the floor. And he's like, "All right, moving on."
Yeah.
Or maybe just not a fan of Natty Light.
I was thinking maybe it was shitty beer. She didn't want it. She didn't want the shit.
They weren't Natty Light. PBR. Maybe they were all for it there, Jay.
There you go.
But the ices back then were gold. I mean, I was drinking, but I don't like Bud. Okay, I don't like Bud beer, but I drank Bud Ice on tap. That was mine.
Now
secrets are coming out.
Now it's starting to trigger some memories here when Trent says, "What was I doing back then?" There was definitely some Molson Ice going down around this era.
I don't think I remember the beer you were drinking in 2000.
That was one of the big college beers there, Molson Ice.
All right.
That's the debut of the beer ice era.
Yeah.
The early 2000s. Yeah.
Getting iced and all that stuff.
that and Ice House and Red Dog.
Yeah.
Turn it upside down and it's Batman. Never mind. Keep
What? I never heard that one. Interesting. Pretty quick one here. Raven gets involved. He hits Sandman. AJ takes the win on this one. So they're trading help back and forth. We cut to Don after this, and he messes up the Clockwork Orange House of Fun. He calls it like a Clockwork House Orange or something. I don't know. I'm like, Don was kind of off on this episode. You guys catch it? He was a little off.
Yeah, he was. He was a little subdued, And yeah, he did make a few kind of errors, but it was early. Like we know now, looking at it 20 years later, what it was supposed to be. This was still the early inception. Like you almost feel later during one of Raven's promos, he's like, I can't even describe how crazy it is. Oh, maybe he didn't know. Maybe they didn't figure it all out yet.
Yeah, he just seemed like you could tell TNA had to cover him a few times on this one. I was like, you could really see where TNA was like making like, you know, doing that like I'm going to intervene and cover the incorrect Don quote here, but I do like the Raven gets pissed. You can tell he was pissed because he comes out, he goes, "It's Clockwork Orange House of Fun." You know, like,
he makes sure to really get that. I think he says it at least 3 times in the promo.
He did
the name of the match.
But he shows up near the catwalk area or the Raven's Nest area, the Bird's Nest area, where he usually hangs out, spotlight out, and he says it like 3 times. You're right, just really driving it home, like, don't fuck this up again. Cuts a promo on the Sandman, just getting that ready, just hyping that whole thing up.
Yeah, which I do appreciate the line in. He has a hard on for crucifixion.
Yes, but that's a callback to ECW.
Yeah,
crucifixion.
So I enjoyed that.
That's a throwback. If you guys didn't know, that's a very controversial angle to this day.
Yeah, that's one they had. They took off TV. They didn't show on TV.
Well, that was one that Kurt Angle was in the crowd on. Were you there for that?
He was.
Were you?
Yes. Yeah. That's where he was. They brought him out for a brief promo, and there was talk like he was going to join the company.
Yeah.
And then he saw that and was like, "Hey, this ain't for me."
Yeah. He apparently he went off on them and said, "If that airs, I'm going to sue you for everything you got." That, which is funny because this is an innocent early Kurt Angle before he joined the wrestling business, not knowing what the shit he'd get into.
Yeah.
So, like,
he's like, "Where that? What the hell did I just walk into?"
I mean, like, that's the show he comes to is only crucified the Sandman. And the top, by the way, side note, the topper on that, and Bill, if you were there live, you remember this, was the crown of thorns made out of barbed wire. That to me was like how you just topped the whole thing. I was like, fucking hell. Like, what?
It's like, I'm going there.
Oh shit. Yeah.
I love the clip where the wife and the son come out. The son's got the leather jacket, and the son goes,
"Yeah, Tyler."
I'm like, oh, if that kid only knew.
That's got to be 30 years old now, at least.
I know he even like Sandman was doing some indie promotion near me, and his son was on the card. Like they were both on the card.
Really?
Yeah. So he was still, I think, just doing it time to time, local indies, and that was probably now 5 years ago. So I'm not sure if he's still sticking with it at all. But
oh, bro, book my son. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, that kid, he's a grown man now. Fuck. Little baby Tyler Fullington. Recap of the whole Dusty and Russo thing. We get that. Now we go to the main, basically the main event match.
Yeah, the main match. Yeah, not main segment, main match. Co-main.
Yes. Not the closer, but this is Harris Brothers taking on Dusty and Vader. Now, I like the TNA guys brought that history. He brought a call out to Siaki and Desire's history with Dusty. And
the local player.
He laid that out. He laid that out early.
He trained him. I like that he mentioned that. I like that was brought up. And then Dusty did get on the mic, and
he cuts the promo. What he's going to do?
Yeah,
especially the Desire.
He said, "What did he say? Refresh."
Well, we got a lot of, like I said, there was a lot of ass in this episode.
A lot of ass.
He said, "I'm gonna slap that ass."
Yeah. That was good.
No, Desire gonna get her ass paddled tonight.
Yes. So he put the threat out there. They looked okay. I think Dusty looked better than Vader. Jay, I know you like both, but I think Dusty looked a lot better than Vader on this one.
I tell you what. I'm sorry, I had on a little too tight tonight. Got to remove the headband. Got to let the head breathe. We went on here.
Downey's got his head's
Robert Downey.
down.
He gets a comment from a star like Goldilocks, and his dick's walking around a little hard. He's tripoding right now. You know.
Yeah, the head is a swelling here. Yeah,
unbelievable. Go ahead. You're gonna say something.
Vader's one of the guys that I always heard about, but he's another one of those guys that I don't know a lot about and I haven't seen a lot about. So a lot of the people's like final runs that I'm watching here on these classic shows is like my first experience with it. Like I went back and it was a couple months ago. I was bored and I watched when Sting beat Flair for the title. Please refresh my memory. Was it a Starrcade?
That Sting beat Flair at Great American Bash 90.
That's it, 90. Okay. That same show was Vader's debut. Takes off the helmet, it's blowing the steam, all huge. Okay. So that was the first time I ever saw Vader. Okay. I haven't seen a lot of his stuff, but I know he's a big classic figure. So now I'm actually seeing him, I'm guessing what would be at the end of his in-ring.
Pretty much.
His last big run. I mean, I know he still did indies till a handful of years ago, right before he passed away. Rest in peace, Vader. But, so yeah, I was very curious to see how he was going to be in the ring versus the Harris brothers with Dusty. Dusty throwing a lot of elbows, Vader throwing a lot of splashes. And I still appreciated it for what it was. Was it him 20 years prior? No. But I was like, wow, okay. It was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was still the nostalgia pop to still see Vader. That's the idea. It was.
It's not like I saw 20 years of Vader and then saw this and was like, No, I appreciated it for what it was.
Yeah. And listen, I think Dusty looked great. And now the thing, I pull this out and I clipped this out. I thought it was interesting. I posted on the We Talk Impact Twitter just because I thought it was a very interesting little call out on the commentary. And this is interesting, guys. I mean, just consider the fact, 2003. On commentary, Mike Tenay casually mentions, he goes, you want to talk tradition? You know what's tradition? Dusty Rhodes' young son Cody just won the Georgia State High School wrestling tournament. Placed first place. And I'm like, how interesting is that? He's talking about his son in high school, Cody Rhodes, who just won his tournament in 2003. Like, it's an interesting take. Like I'm not an AEW guy, but I love a nice little callback to history like that, and a nice little Easter egg, and I think that's fucking cool.
Because even like I remember, I think it was probably like a Monday Night Raw or something, probably not too far from this era, where like Reed Flair was wrestling in high school.
Yes,
and they were calling that stuff out too. Like they were kind of putting over maybe a future generation of the legends of the business.
Yeah,
that knowing Tenay's mind, I can see he was probably thinking of that because he probably had a conversation with Dusty and he's like, I think my other kid might get in the business.
How crazy is that to think? Little nugget, right? He probably was like, Cody's doing pretty good in school. I mean, he's wrestling pretty good. He just won his tournament, and so now Tenay takes at the commentary, thinking, hey, maybe this kid might, maybe Dusty mentioned, hey, he's thinking about training. Fucking mind-boggling, like that's crazy to think, and that's then who's compared to what he is today. It's unbelievable. So I like the little callback. Like I thought that was very fun to get that little Easter egg. But the end was a little wacky. They got Ron Killings in the crowd watching the match. So they're still teasing his loyalty, his whole thing. The end was just a bunch of interference, all this stuff going on. At first, the referee rings the bell, but I'm like, who actually won? Was it a double DQ? I couldn't tell at first, but it turns out, I guess
Sonny came in first.
Sonny, okay, so I couldn't tell. I didn't catch that. And then, so they disqualified the Harrises, and Dusty and Vader get the win. Now we do get a little ass whipping on this one though, because Dusty does whip Desire's ass. What does he whip her ass with though? What was it like?
A belt.
This is the belt. Okay.
He takes off his belt. He's pulling.
He goes old school
a couple times. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He shot. Oh my God. How respect that. He shined it up real nice.
He shined it up.
That's
I got a little uncomfortable at the shining up for a second.
Yeah, I was like, ooh, that's Dusty. Damn.
I got things that would not fly today.
You can't do the shine up today.
No. Even Nikita Koloff got into this. I'm like, man, where did you?
Oh yeah, Nikita. Well, that's why, because I'm like, why'd they throw the Nikita in the video package?
Yeah,
it feels like forever ago already. And that's like, well, there you go. He's back.
He's back. Nikita was back, and it's like, oh, okay, so Nikita Koloff is back now.
He got taken out pretty quickly though. It was like, oh my God, there's Nikita. Oh no, there he goes, right out of the ring.
He got taken out fast. So Nikita was out. We go. So we're not done. So that's the last match, guys. It's the main event match. Now we got the last segment coming up. They go back to Goldie, our pal Goldie again, trying to get some
Goldie.
answers. And she's back.
Sandman.
Yeah.
I think she was referring to this promo earlier in our interview.
She was, which is great. It's pretty interesting. She happened to refer to some of these tonight. She's back there with Sandman and with Swinger and Simon.
Yeah, so the Swingman.
Swingman. This is like Swingman's first like promo, actually.
And that's the thing. Like, this is the first we get to really hear from Swinger on an episode of TNA. Not his debut, but his first. This is his first like storyline.
Yes.
In TNA.
True.
Because he's an ECW guy. It's the ECW guys.
They're labeling it. Yeah, they're labeling it the ECW guy, and like this is actually him now.
The classic ECW family. So these guys are staying tight. They're new, but they're staying tight because they came from,
So he's talking about Clockwork Orange, House of Fun. It's gonna get extreme, bro. You know, he's just going off on the whole thing.
And they're like, Sandman's gonna get extreme. What's he been doing this whole time?
Yeah, no shit. He hasn't really been going to church this whole time. What the fuck is he doing? You know. So a little tease for that. Now here's the last segment, boys. This is it out, guys. Thank you all for hanging with us. About 2.5 hours. The Goldilocks interview took up the first hour of this. So let's not, we didn't break down number 34 for 2.5 hours. So if you're joining us,
we didn't go off the rails for that one.
Not for this one. Last week's Impact on Access, yes, we did. But last couple of weeks, and hey, our listenership's fantastic. I want to throw really quick before we close. I'm going to throw a thank you before we're done tonight. So let's wrap this one up, and I'm going to really throw a thank you to the new listeners coming in today. Contract signing, Jeff Jarrett and Russo. The tape starts playing. So we get the tape that plays and that Jarrett teased, and it's Vince Russo's kids, Will and VJ. These are his sons now. Like, I was following Will on Twitter for a while, and he talks about Will and VJ a lot. I do not remember this at all.
I did not remember this either.
Holy shit. So Will and VJ are on there, and Will's cutting a pretty decent promo, I got to say.
Yeah, he's the mouthpiece, Will.
Now, Will's cutting a promo. VJ doesn't say anything. They're talking about how you weren't there for us. It's always been about your work. And now you're obsessed with sports entertainment extreme. You know, we don't get to have you like we want. We love you, Dad. Please just love us back. We just want to be with you. I mean, it's sad, right? It's like it's heavy. Yeah. Now, side note, Will Russo works for Diamond Dallas Page as DDP's editor. He's a video editor for DDP. That DDP's video crew does a lot of AEW's video production. So they're all kind of linked. They're all in Georgia. Cody lives there and all that stuff. So a little bit of an interesting little tie. And Will actually works for Diamond Dallas Page. So as like for DDP Yoga and stuff primarily. So he's filmed some stuff in there, and he's not an AEW guy. So he films, like, he's always talking about how he's getting dogged for just being like against it. And, you know, he was filming these funny little segments called Son of Russo and stuff. Just hilarious shit. Will's a really talented guy. So the kid turned out pretty good, and that little kid crying on tape turned out pretty good.
And somebody was cutting onions around Vince in the ring too.
Oh man!
Saw the visible tear.
Oh yeah.
While he's pacing back and forth watching his son.
Maybe he knew what he was about to just unleash in moments.
Did you have any notes from it? Because I clipped it.
I have notes from this. This is great.
I want to put it out because I clipped it for our Twitter guys that we talk Impact, but. Go ahead and he calls out his kids, man.
He annihilates Will here. He's like, that little shit. I let him watch Stern. I let him play poker after school. And then that little mop head Beetle wannabe next to him. He's like, I'm gonna beat your little ass when I get home tonight. Like it's never been beaten before. He went all over.
You want to see me when I get home later tonight? I'm gonna whip your ass.
I'm gonna come in your whip your ass. I was like, that's amazing. I loved it.
Man, you're a horrible parent, Vince.
So good. Father of the year. I mean,
he should have had a Father of the Year T-shirt after this.
Oh, it would have been great. Calling his son's a little shit.
That's the call back to next week. He's going to come out next week and be like, my kids love me. You know?
Father of the year.
Well, you know what? Just like a new signing. He's got kids.
He's got kids.
He's got kids.
Oh, my God. He's Heath Senior.
Jared comes out and talks about, hey, he's he's like, hey, sometimes, you gotta take the shirt off your back. And he's like, I'm taking this one off my back. And he takes off the Sports Entertainment Extreme shirt, and he says he's going to come kick his ass. he starts making his way down there, and he gets in there. He spears Vince. He's able to spear him. But then we get a little surprise. We all debut and a return on this one. Bill, you want to break it down here?
Yeah, we get some run-ins here. Well, we get Brian Lawler making his return with David Flair, and Eric Watts shows up.
Yeah, Eric Watts, Bill Watts' son. Bill Watts' son, man. The Cowboy Bill Watts, a legendary promoter, the owner of Mid-South Wrestling. I mean, that if you guys haven't watched Mid-South, I know some of our old school listeners have. Mid-South is an amazing territory. WWE put out a compilation, a Blu-ray, and I got some bootleg Blu-ray compilation. Mid-South is always said to be one of the greatest territories of all time. From a story perspective, Eric Watts came from a very good pedigree. He just had a lot of big shoes to fill, and it was a very tough position for him. He's a star football player, though. I remember that. Interesting, though. I mean, how well do you know Eric Watts? Bill, you want to talk about Eric Watts at all? Anything you remember?
You know what? I remember a little of Eric Watts. I obviously remember his TNA.
Mm-hmm.
And then before this, was he down in Texas in one of those? Was he like, what was that? The one on ESPN? Was he like in, what was that?
Global? I don't think
Global. Was he in Global?
The one I remember him in WCW because when his father was booking, but then he was in Techno Team 2000. You remember that? He in very, very that was him. It was part of that new generation thing that they were doing. Techno Team 2000.
Wow.
And that's what that was. But he never really caught on because it was just like he was son of the promoter. It was always he always had heat, like you're the promoter's son. You're just one of those deals. But here is where I feel he shines. He doesn't wrestle much here. He becomes more of a mouthpiece. And you're in for something on this one, guys. Derek Watts, I love this run. I really like this one a lot.
Well, it ends. Regret.
That gets played a lot. I believe that's in like 3 video packages. Because me and Dave used to always he's like, regret what you did to them. Regret. Like we always would laugh about. It became a running joke with Dave and I. We just text each other. Regret. Like it was just a funny thing. But it ends with that. So Eric Watts is there. There's a little bit of a faction now, guys. It's the second generation guys. It's Ric Flair's son David, Jerry Lawler's son Brian, and Bill Watts' son Eric Watts. They go off the air attacking Jeff Jarrett. So that's number 34. 34 weeks in, February 26, 2003. I really like this episode. I thought this had a great pace, awesome storytelling, furthered everything. I was very happy with this one, guys. Jay, what do you think, man? What's your closing on this one?
This was just wild because you had such definitive sides, S.E.X versus NWA, and now this one, you had started like almost looked like it was crumbling of the sides. Like, oh man, are we gonna have like the ultimate, top baby face who is, we call him Super Jeff Jarrett jokingly. Is Jeff Jarrett actually? It's like, what the hell is gonna happen to this show if he joins S.E.X? What? How are they going to counter that? Is this really going to happen? And you get that little feeling all throughout all these little things. And because then AJ joins, but then you got the tumultuous stuff inside S.E.X of Raven versus AJ. It's just all this like visible drama. It's crazy. I loved it.
Yeah, it had a lot to digest, man. What do you think, Bill? Where do you fall on this one? I thought it was just a lot to digest, but it was in a good way.
Yeah, no, and I thought it had a good mix. I think you're right. I think storyline wise, very strong pay-per-view. A good amount of good matches, like the Jerry Lynn Juventud was a great match. Some good wrestling in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
The guy's my age. He's still going today. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think any criticism would have been what you pointed out earlier is like Don West was a little off. So the commentary wasn't what it was maybe a month ago, where they were probably at their top of their game then. So this one, who knows? Could have been just a dragging out period. Who knows if Don West was showing some knives or some collector's coins the week before.
Could have been tired.
So he's a busy guy. So I think we'll see a recharge Don West in the next week or two.
Oh, for sure. Zach Monifer's pointing out that he was at University of Louisville. He was a quarterback for the Cardinals. I mean, that was a major team. So he starts bringing in a lot of his friends who are major NFL players. They start coming into TNA later on. I remember that distinctly. Like Jim McMahon shows up at one point. I'm a Chicago Bears guy. You're a Bears fan in the 80s. Jim McMahon was a fucking man. He shows up on TNA, which is another glossed over thing. They don't talk enough about when all the football guys are showing up. But and then Blood Rain points out he grew up in the Mid-South area. Blood Rain, you could comment, isn't it one of the greatest promotions of all time? One of the most awesome ones. And got sold to the WWE. I believe Bill Watts' ex-wife had something to do with that from what I heard. Part of it was that was part of the decision or something from what I heard. But the guys, that was it, man. Again, a great show. Awesome conclusion of that. Goldilocks being on. What a night. 2.5 hours on a throwback. That's unheard of.
We went long, but it was so worth it. We had almost an hour and a half with Goldie, and I'm thinking, it was like, we don't want to keep these guests too long. We're thinking 20 minutes max, half hour, and we almost tripled that. And just thank you, Goldie, so much.
Yeah,
we had no clue how much of a blast it was going to be tonight.
So guys, don't forget, send her a tweet. Goldilocks rocks. Goldie with a Y. Goldilocks rocks on Twitter and Instagram. Let her know you enjoyed the interview tonight. Tag us. Let her know that you found her through us, and just connect us. She was so happy to be on. She had a great time. It looked like, at least we had a great time. But no, definitely let her know that you had a good time here with listening to her stories, and you'd like that. We're back, whatever you might be. Support her projects.
Yes, check her out. Her video on YouTube. Support her cause.
Support the cause. She's in it for some really important stuff. Suicide prevention's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, especially during these times right now.
Yes.
I know those numbers have gone up, so that's definitely a good message to get out there.
They have.
Link is in the description, folks. Go check out the video. Go give it some love. Share it. Let her know you watched.
Yes, please do. Let her know you watched. You liked it. You had a good time. So, but let's close it out, guys. Let's let these people get some rest. Late night. Bill, where can people follow you? Connect with you now?
They can connect with me on Twitter is the best place. At my name at William M. Gardner, Gardner.
There you go. I'm going to put the links in the bottom. Jay, start plugging your Smash stuff, brother. Let them know where you can find it. All links are at the bottom here, too, guys. They're scrolling across the bottom. Go ahead.
You can follow me over at Smash This Podcast, another little podcast on YouTube where we're smashing all things wrestling outside of Impact Wrestling. Some you love, some you don't love, but hey, it's a little bit of everything. You can follow me on the Twitter box at what you're reading right here, JBone5150. I love it that this is. I kind of giggle at this whenever we have guests on, and I've heard other people say when they see my Twitter handle, they say J Bones.
Yeah, called J Bones today at first.
Yeah,
J Bones 150.
J Bones 150. No. But I don't. I don't make a big deal out of it. I just little inside chuckle. It's all good.
J Bones 150.
150 what?
Guys, you can give me a follow at Trendzuberry on Twitter. Also, Hemi Music, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Support the band. We got a ton of new merchandise out. I wish I had here. I just picked up. I just had one of our tumblers. I sent it to you guys today. One of our coffee mugs, our coffee tumbler sent to us. That thing is sweet. Pick up your coffee tumblers, guys. There's a bunch of new heavy merchandise. Best way to support me personally it'd be supporting the band during the downtime. The show, support the show. If you're on Twitch, cheer bits. We're getting into this bit cheering thing. If you're on Twitch, cheer some bits. What is this now? There it is. Look at that. That's the tumblr. I sent it to Bill earlier. All the guys. That thing's cool as shit. I'm super proud. I can't wait to drink my coffee out of that tomorrow. Thank you, Bill.
Metal Java.
That Metal Java to wake your ass up and slap you in the face. HemiMusic.com for that, guys. But also, yeah, thank you. You guys can definitely check out. So support the show, cheer bits. Like I said, Twitch, guys, follow us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Total Nonstop Impact. If you subscribed on Twitch, you get the Mike Tenay emotes. Also, t-shirts. Like we got Bill's got the throwback shirt. I got the main logo. ProWrestlingTees.com/Total Nonstop Impact. Pick up your t-shirts, guys. 3 designs up there. A 4th one seems like it's about to come out any minute now. So we're talking. But look at that throwback show. Bill's rocking the throwback. Also, guys, don't forget social media. We Talk Impact on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Type in We Talk Impact. Comes right up. Or Total Nonstop Impact. Comes up in Google. You can look it right up. All major podcast apps, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, Spotify, Geo7, you name it, we're on it. Rate, review, subscribe. If you guys are iTunes users, leave a rating. I will give you a shout out. I definitely want to start shouting out iTunes listeners, because iTunes is where we can at least really see the comments easily. If you rate it on iTunes, leave a rating and a comment. Let me know. Tweet us. And I'll definitely give you a shout out if you have it. We want to get the algorithm up. Our iTunes numbers are growing. Let's keep them growing. If you do that, we'll definitely give you a personal shout out. So I think that covers everything. I think I got it all right. Did I miss anything, boys? I think it's time for Bill's closing thought. Go ahead, Bill. Leave these people with something to go into their weekend with.
Well, got another weekend coming up. I'm going to be keeping pretty busy this weekend. I got a few shows. So I'll be out there. I'll be in Jersey going to some outdoor wrestling shows over the next couple days. Okay. So I'm going to be out there wearing my mask.
There you go.
Keeping my social distance. And the same with everyone out there. We all want you to be safe. We want you to be back with us Sunday for the Impact Weekly Review and Open Forum. Mm-hmm. And then Tuesday, we are back live with the Twitch co-stream, followed by the review show. So until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.
There you go. Perfect. Couldn't have said it better, Mike. What a poet. Everybody, thank you very much for hanging late tonight. We appreciate it. If you're in late, check out the Goldilocks interview. It is at the beginning of this episode. Go back, check it. It's an hour and 15 minutes of Goldilocks. She was fantastic. We actually had a great time. Thank you again, Goldilocks. We appreciate it. J-Bo, cue up the exit video. Guys, we will see you Sunday night, like Bill said, Impact Plus Weekly. Talking Explosion and the Open Forum. We will talk to you then. Have a good night, everybody. Great weekend.
Find me the name of this garbage show again that I'm on.
Total Nonstop Impact.
My name's Sean, capital letter E, period, Bravo, and you're listening to the Total Nonstop Impact Podcast.
This is the jaw-jacking Tuesday night impacting. His mother called him son because he shines like one. Mocha skin manimal, Rohit Raju, and you are watching Total Nonstop Impact.
This is Taya La Güera Loca, and you are listening to Total Nonstop Impact.
The Walking Weapon, Josh Alexander, and you're listening to Total Nonstop Impact.
We are the Rascals. And you are listening to Total
Nonstop
Impact Podcast, baby.
Woo! And what you're really listening to is Total Nonstop Impact. Don't you dare miss a lesson. Oh, yeah.